Girls humiliated me all through college because I was dirt poor, socially awkward, and way too easy to clown. Then some unknown system sent me back to my first day of college and dropped a cheat code in my face. Cashback system online. Now, every insult paid me. Every humiliation gave me points. Every sucker who stepped on me became fuel for my money, my glow-up, and my revenge. I was not back to be their broke little campus joke. I was back to get rich and collect revenge. But before I could collect from college, I need to explain why the system chose me in the first place. Mr. Sutter fired me before my lunch bag even warmed in the office fridge. He did it in the glass conference room at Meridian Analytics, the one where everyone could pretend not to stare. He slid a thin packet across the table, tapped the signature line twice, and said, "Nolan Reed, this is not a punishment. This is a correction. Cheap enough to call my life a correction," stamped onto a packet and pushed across a polished table. I looked through the glass wall and saw Drew Haskell standing near my old desk with my headset already around his neck. Drew smiled like the chair had grown for him. 2 months earlier, he had asked me how to format a client report. That morning, Mr. Sutter called him our future. Mr. Sutter leaned back and folded his hands. "Drew has momentum. Clients like that." I said, "Clients like people who steal templates?" Mr. Sutter's smile tightened. "He heard me." So did Drew through the glass. "Good." Then Mr. Sutter turned the knife sideways. "Caitlin Shaw seems to think Drew has momentum too." My jaw did not move. My phone buzzed on the table before I could stop it. A public profile update filled the screen. Caitlin, standing beside Drew in front of a restaurant I had saved for months to take her to. Her hand sat on his arm like it had been there forever. The caption was worse than the picture. "New start, better energy." Mr. Sutter did not even look embarrassed. He pushed a company pen toward me. "Sign the release, Nolan. Keep your dignity." I laughed once. It came out ugly. "Dignity?" I asked him. "You fired me in a fishbowl and used my girlfriend as a footnote." Mr. Sutter's eyes cut toward the glass wall. Drew had stopped pretending not to listen. 2 analysts near the printer froze with their cups halfway up. Mr. Sutter lowered his voice. "You are making this harder than it needs to be." "No," I said. "You made it cheap. I am making it accurate. Brave, for me. It changed nothing. Security did not drag me out. That would have been too dramatic." Meridian Analytics preferred quiet cruelty. My badge simply stopped opening doors. My inbox locked while I was still in the elevator. My final check hit my account before I reached the lobby, and it was small enough to feel like a joke with numbers. The lobby guard did not look at me when he took the badge. He had seen this ritual too many times. A worker leaves with a box, the company keeps the chair, and everyone pretends the building did not just eat another person. Drew came down before the elevator doors closed. He did not come to help. He held my coffee mug by the handle like it was evidence. "You forgot this," Drew said, loud enough for the guard to hear. "Mr. Sutter said I could use the client files you built. No hard feelings, right?" No hard feelings. That phrase is what cowards say when they are holding your wallet. I took the mug from him. It had a chip near the rim from the week Caitlin had thrown it into the sink during a fight about money. Drew's thumb sat right on that chip. I asked him, "Does Caitlin know you still need training wheels?" His smile twitched. "She knows I am moving forward." The guard suddenly found the marble floor interesting. Drew stepped closer. "You should try that sometime." I could have hit him with the mug. I imagined it. Clean arc. Ceramic crack. Coffee stain on his shirt. 10 seconds of justice and a lifetime of charges. Old me swallowed it for one ugly reason. I had no money left to buy consequences. Outside, Harbor City looked expensive in every direction. Men with clean shoes walked past me like failure had a smell. My lunch bag split at the handle, and the plastic fork inside bounced across the sidewalk. I bent to pick it up. A woman in heels stepped around me without slowing down. My old life fit inside that one movement. I was always bending. Everyone else was always stepping around. Caitlin called as I walked toward the subway. For one stupid second, I thought she might apologize. I answered. She did not say hello. She said, "Please do not make this embarrassing." I stopped at the top of the station stairs. Behind me, traffic screamed. Below me, the subway breathed hot air through the grates. I asked, "Was I embarrassing before or after Drew got my desk?" Caitlin sighed like I was the one wasting her time. "Drew is not afraid of wanting more. You keep waiting for life to notice how loyal you are." "Loyalty paid rent for 3 years," I said. "No," Caitlin said. "I paid patience for 3 years. There it was." The betrayal came as one clean little sentence. It turned every late shift, every skipped meal, every cheap birthday gift, and every next year will be better into trash. I said, "Congratulations on better energy." Then I hung up before she could pity me. The subway platform was packed. Suits, students, delivery bags, tired parents, all of them pressing toward the yellow line like the city had one throat, and we were all trying to breathe through it. I stood near the edge because I had nowhere better to stand. A train screamed into the tunnel, then slowed with a metal whine. The lights flickered once, twice. My phone showed Caitlin's photo again. I should have deleted it. Instead, I stared at it until Drew's smile blurred. I had been a good employee, a good boyfriend, a good loser. Nobody tells you this. Being harmless does not make people gentle, it makes them efficient. The platform lights died, every voice cut off at once. The dark lasted maybe 3 seconds, long enough for someone to curse, long enough for the train doors to hiss open, long enough for me to feel the city keep moving without caring whether I did. Then a blue-white square opened in front of my face. It did not glow like an ad. It hovered like a verdict. Cashback system online. Complaint detected. I stared at it. A man behind me bumped my shoulder and snapped, "Move." The square moved with me. Complaint category: exploited labor, romantic betrayal, social humiliation, wasted loyalty. Beginner wish available. I blinked hard. The words stayed. I whispered, "I finally lost my mind." The system answered in clean, silent text. Select compensation route. Money. Comfort. Revenge opportunity. Time correction. My thumb moved before I understood why. The air in front of me accepted the touch like glass. Money tempted me first. Of course it did. I had $14 in checking and a lunch bag bleeding noodles onto my shoe. Comfort showed a room with no overdue bills, no phone buzzing with pity, no memory sharp enough to make me hate the air. It was disgusting because part of me wanted it. Revenge opportunity showed a door opening back into Meridian Analytics with Mr. Sutter standing on the other side. The old wound in me lunged at that one. I could almost hear Drew apologizing with broken teeth. Then time correction showed a blank line and the feeling of a knife being handed, handle first. But time correction made my hands go cold. Another line appeared. Warning, chosen correction cannot be undone. I laughed again. This one was quieter. Undo what? The fired badge? The ex who traded me like a used phone? The boss who called my life a correction? The college years where I learned to lower my head before anyone even swung? There was one day that had bent everything after it. The first day back at Bayside Metropolitan University. The train. Iris Calloway, Blaine Carver, the rich boy with soft hands and a violent temper. The day I had tried to be polite, tried to be invisible, tried to not embarrass myself in front of the girl everyone wanted. I remembered the way the car had smelled that morning: cold coffee, perfume, wet metal from a rain that had not reached the underground. I remembered pretending my backpack was not falling apart. I remembered looking at Iris like she was a world with a velvet rope around it. Then Blaine had arrived and made one thing clear. In that world, I was not a person. I was a stain he could point at. What hurt most was not that he pushed me. It was that I apologized after. I apologized to him, to Iris, to strangers, to the floor. I apologized so many times that the first week of college learned my voice as background noise. That apology became a habit. The habit became a posture. The posture became a life. So when the system asked where to begin, I did not choose the boardroom. Mr. Sutter was the end of the sickness, not the first infection. The train was where I learned to lower my head. That made the train the first place I wanted to raise it. After that first failure, people laughed easier. Dorm bullies pushed harder. Girls learned my name as a warning. Rich boys learned I would swallow anything if they called it a joke. I looked at the option again. Time correction. The smart wish would have been money. The safe wish would have been peace. I was done being safe for people who enjoyed stepping over me. I raised my hand in the dark, and the system waited. "Send me back," I said. My voice sounded calm enough to scare me. "Not to a better life. Back to the first day I let them price me." The square pulsed once. "Define complaint target." I thought of Mr. Sutter's pen, Caitlin's caption, Drew at my desk. Blaine's old smile, the entire clean little machine that taught me to apologize for occupying space. "All of it," I said. "But start with the train. Confirmation required." I did not hesitate. "Yes." The platform dropped out from under me. The system skipped light tunnels, angel choruses, and wise voices promising destiny. It gave me the dirty taste of subway air, the crack of my knee against metal, and my own breath tearing back into a younger chest. I opened my eyes on a moving train. For 1 second, I did not know where I was. The seats were narrower than I remembered. My hands looked wrong. No office calluses, no cheap watch tan, no swollen knuckles from years of punching walls I never dared punch in front of people. My reflection stared back from the dark train window. Thin face, bad glasses, uneven posture, the old nervous mouth, 21 again, broke again, alive again. A student ID hung crooked from the strap of my backpack. Bayside Metropolitan University. The date printed on the train monitor was the old date, orientation day. The first clean morning before 4 years of small humiliations learned my name. My wallet sat in my lap where the fall had knocked it loose. Inside were 2 $20 bills, a cafeteria card, and the cheap student transit pass I had once guarded like treasure. My office badge was gone. My final check was gone. Mr. Sutter's packet was gone. The cashback system had not sent me back rich. It had sent me back early. That was better. Early meant the villains had not collected interest yet, A soft voice across from me asked, "Are you okay?" I turned. Iris Calloway sat by the window with a designer duffel tucked beside her boots. Same glossy hair, same clean sweater, same calm eyes that had once made half the car straighten their backs without knowing why. In my first life, I had stared too long. Then I had tried to help her with a bag she did not need help carrying. Then Blaine had made me the day's entertainment. This time, I looked at her eyes, then at the duffel, then back at her face. "I am deciding whether to be grateful or offended," I said. Iris blinked. "For what?" "For waking up near someone pretty and still having this face." Her mouth opened, then she laughed before she could stop herself. She had a small bandage on one finger from a paper cut. I remembered that too. Back then, I had offered her a napkin like I was presenting a wedding ring. Blaine had laughed, and half the car had learned my face before campus even saw me. Now I noticed the bandage, noticed her duffel blocking the aisle, noticed my own hand moving to help before I stopped it. Old habits sprint back to the first person who ever rewarded them. I kept my hand in my lap. Iris glanced at it, then at my face. "You looked like you were about to say something." "I was," I said, and decided the sentence was too poor to survive. She laughed again, softer this time, and tucked the loose strap of her duffel under her boot herself. "Good. I did not need to rescue a bag that was not in danger. I needed to stop auditioning for kindness." The sound hit me harder than the system. Romance was not the point. I was not that stupid anymore. The hit came from the order of it. In the old life, Iris had smiled at me out of pity after I was already bleeding. This time, she laughed before anyone hurt me. Small difference, huge price. A faint square flickered at the edge of my vision. Beginner wish spent. Cashback. System access retained. Current balance. Pending. Another line appeared beneath it, smaller and meaner. Complaint chain reopened. The system did not tell me how to win. It did not hand me muscles, money, or charm. It only confirmed the old bill had not been closed. That was enough. A broke man with a receipt is still broke. A broke man who remembers every thief is inventory. I slipped the student ID back into my wallet and looked at Iris again. Her face was still open, curious, unguarded. The old me would have begged that look to stay. The new me knew better. You do not beg a moment to stay. You make the next person pay for interrupting it. I did not ask the system for a manual. Manuals were for men who had time to be confused, and confusion had already eaten enough of my life. This time, I would learn by making someone else bleed real value first. I had old memories, a working pulse, and a problem walking toward me from the next car. The train slowed. The doors between cars slid open. Iris's smile faded first. That told me enough. Blaine Carver stepped in wearing a jacket that cost more than my rent used to cost. His hair was perfect, his jaw was tight, and his eyes moved from Iris to me like I had stolen property by sitting in the wrong seat. In my first life, that look had made me shrink. This time, I looked back. The cashback system waited in the corner of my sight, quiet as a loaded gun. Blaine's smile spread when he recognized the old version of me. Then, he saw Iris still smiling. He stepped into the aisle. The first bill had arrived, and this time, I was done paying it alone. Blaine Carver did not start with a punch. Men like Blaine rarely did. They needed an audience first. They needed the room to agree that violence was just confidence with better shoulders. He planted one hand on the pole beside Iris Calloway and looked down at me through my old glasses. "Do you know him?" Blaine asked Iris. Iris heard the warning under the question. So did half the train car. Her fingers tightened on the strap of her designer duffel. "We were talking," Iris said. Blaine smiled at me. "That was not the question. In my first life," I had explained, I had stammered that I was only being polite. I had made myself smaller with every word until Blaine had the whole car's permission to step on me. This time, I leaned back against the seat. "She knows me now," I said. "You arrived late." Iris turned her head fast, like she wanted to warn me not to be stupid. Too late. I had spent one whole life being careful for people who never returned the favor. Blaine's jaw flexed. "Funny." "No," I said. "Accurate." A few riders looked up from their phones. That mattered. A public bully hates witnesses until he needs them to clap. The snack cart rattled past before Blaine could answer. Iris glanced at it and then at the empty cup in Blaine's hand. I remembered this tiny detail from the old day. Iris had asked Blaine for water before he went to the next car. Blaine had come back with a coffee for himself and an attitude for everyone else. Small neglect. Big opening. I pulled a sealed bottle of water and a wrapped snack bar from my backpack. In the old life, I had packed them because I was poor and nervous. In this life, they were inventory. I held them out to Iris. $5, I said. Iris stared at the bottle. "You are selling me water?" "Emergency service fee," I said. The premium version includes not making you listen to him explain why forgetting was leadership. The corner of her mouth broke first. Then she laughed. The sound went through Blaine like a slap. Iris took the bottle and snack. She dug cash from her bag and pressed it into my palm. "Fine. Best scam on the train. The cashback system flashed once at the edge of my sight. First voluntary transaction recorded. The amount was pathetic. The feeling was not. Blaine looked at the cash in my hand. You charged her for gas station trash? I charged her for what you failed to bring, I said. Relax, there is still a free lesson for you. The rider across the aisle made a choking sound. Not a full laugh. Enough. Blaine heard it. His smile died. Iris said, Blaine, leave it alone. That should have helped. It did the opposite. Blaine did not hear concern. He heard another man making her speak softly. Men like him translate every woman's embarrassment into a challenge against their own ownership. He looked down at the $5 in my hand. Give it back. I held the bill up between two fingers. Refunds require a receipt. It is her money. It was her thirst. A student near the doors laughed before he could hide it. Blaine turned his head just enough to mark the sound. The student looked away. Cowardly, but useful. A laugh that gets swallowed still leaves a taste. Blaine stepped closer until his knee touched mine. He leaned closer. Stand up. I looked at his shoes. Clean, expensive, planted too wide. No. You think because she laughed you matter? Blaine asked. No, I said. I think because you are blocking the aisle, everyone can see you. Blaine's shoulders went still. He had two exits, walk away and look small, or force the car to accept his version of the scene. Blaine chose the expensive mistake. He grabbed my jacket and yanked me up from the seat. I did not hit him. I let my glasses tilt. I let the bottle cap roll under the seat. I let the whole train car watch him put hands on me first. Iris stood. Blaine, stop. I lifted one hand toward her without looking away from him. Do not get between us. He will blame you for embarrassing him. Blaine shoved me against the pole. Pain burst through my shoulder. The cashback system did not rescue me. Good. I had not asked for rescue. Blaine said, apologize. I wiped my mouth with my thumb. No blood yet. For the water or the truth? His first punch cracked across my cheek. My old instincts screamed at me to cover my head, apologize, and end the scene before it became the story everyone told at orientation. I let the instincts scream. Then I looked up at Iris through the crooked frames and said, do not worry, he is almost done making his point. Blaine heard the insult under the blood. He lifted me again. The conductor was still 2 cars away. The officer was still a station away. The riders were only brave in pieces. That was fine. Pieces were enough if I arranged them correctly. The train car went loud. I dropped hard into the seat, then slid to the floor. My ears rang. My old body was weak, and Blaine knew how to look strong in front of people who had never been hit for real. A woman near the doors shouted, Hey, he did not touch you! A man in work boots stepped forward and said, back off him. That was the moment Blaine should have stopped. He did not. He looked at Iris, saw her fear pointed at me instead of admiration, pointed at him, and lost the last useful piece of his brain. He kicked my backpack aside and grabbed my collar again. I gave him my best old frightened face. It was not hard. The pain was real. The fear was useful. Blaine, Iris said, louder this time. Everyone is watching. Blaine snarled. Good. Then he hit me again. The second punch split my lip. The system flickered. Complaint severity increased. Witness count increased. I almost laughed with blood in my mouth. Blaine Carver had just become a ledger entry. The conductor came through the car with 2 riders behind him. The train was slowing into the next station. Blaine still had his fist raised when the doors opened, and a transit officer stepped in. The officer did not see a fight. He saw a rich-looking student standing over a skinny guy on the floor while Iris Calloway held a water bottle with shaking fingers. That picture did more work than any speech I could have made. The officer said, hands where I can see them. Blaine snapped. He harassed my girlfriend. I spat blood into a napkin and looked at Iris. Iris's face went cold. He did not harass me, she said clearly, so the officer and the riders heard her. Blaine grabbed him first. Nolan told me to stay back. She used my name. In the old life, that would have made me blush like an idiot. This time, I kept my head lowered so Blaine could not see me smile. 2 riders backed Iris up. One showed the officer a recording from his phone. Another pointed at the snack wrapper still in Iris's hand and said, Blaine lost it over water. Blaine's face changed by inches. Anger first, then surprise, then the first little flash of calculation. He understood too late that the audience had not become his weapon. It had become mine. I did not give a statement on the platform. I did not make a dramatic speech. I let the officer call medical help because my face looked bad enough to make Blaine look worse. On the platform, Blaine tried one last performance. He pointed at me while the transit officer held him back with one arm. He is pretending. Look at him. He is always like this. That was a beautiful sentence because nobody there knew what always meant. To them, Blaine sounded like a man inventing history because the present looked bad. I lifted my head just enough for the blood at my lip to show. The woman near the doors said, he was sitting down when you grabbed him. The man in work boots added, rich kid lost his mind over a bottle of water. Blaine's face twisted. Iris heard both lines. So did the officer. So did Blaine. A public story had formed without my fingerprints on it. That was better than winning a fist fight. When the ambulance doors closed, Iris climbed in before anyone invited her. Blaine shouted her name from the platform. She did not turn around. That was the first thing he lost. Mercy Harbor Medical Center smelled like disinfectant and money. The front desk moved fast when Iris gave her family insurance card, but I stopped her before she could sign anything for me. "Do not pay," I said. Iris frowned. "You are hurt. That is why he should pay." She stared at me for half a second. Then she understood I was not being brave. I was being greedy. Good. Brave men get flowers. Greedy men get wires. A nurse cleaned the blood from my lip. A doctor looked at my cheek and shoulder, said nothing interesting, and left me with a cold pack. I kept the medical part short, even in my own memory, because the pain was not the point. The point arrived in a tailored coat with Gordon Carver's face. Blaine's father entered the private room as if he had bought the hallway on the way in. Blaine came behind him, pale now, one cheek red from a different kind of impact. Mr. Carver looked at me, then at Iris, then at the tablet in the nurse's hand. "Nolan Reed," he said. "This got out of control." "Your son got out of control," I said. Blaine stepped forward. "You baited me." Mr. Carver turned once. "Be quiet." Blaine shut his mouth. That was the second thing he lost. Mr. Carver faced me again. "I would prefer this not become a campus matter before the semester begins." There it was. Not guilt, not justice. Containment. I sat up slowly, winced where everyone could see it, and let the cold pack fall into my lap. "I would prefer a lot of things," I said. I preferred not getting punched for selling water. Iris looked down, and her grip tightened on the chair beside my bed. Mr. Carver heard the number before I said it. Men like him always did. They heard price tags in silence. I did not answer immediately. I reached for the cup on the side table, missed it on purpose, and let my hand shake just enough for Iris to notice. Blaine muttered, "Unbelievable!" Mr. Carver cut him off without looking. "Your opinion is currently expensive." I liked Gordon Carver more than I liked his son. Kindness had nothing to do with it. He understood damage and clean units. He asked, "What do you want?" Blaine scoffed. I looked at him. "A public apology to Iris for dragging her into your little performance?" Blaine's eyes went wide. "To her?" "Yes," I said. "You hurt me. You embarrassed her." Iris looked at me fast. That landed better than any flirt line. Mr. Carver nodded once. "And?" Mr. Carver looked at my split lip, Iris's face, Blaine's stiff jaw, and the officer at the door. He had seen enough to know the truth had already escaped him. That made him practical. Practical rich people are my favorite kind. They do not waste time pretending a problem is moral when it is already financial. Hospital bill covered, replacement glasses, missed orientation expenses, and a private settlement of $120,000. The room held still after I named the number. That was the part I enjoyed. Not the pain, not the bandage, the pause. For a second, every person in that room had to decide whether the skinny boy with the split lip was delusional or dangerous. Iris looked at me like she had expected me to ask for an apology and maybe a ride to campus. Blaine looked at me like I had robbed him. Mr. Carver looked at me like he had found a bill he could pay before it grew teeth. I had spent years being priced by other people. This was the first time I quoted myself. Blaine exploded. "For a bloody lip?" I smiled at him with the bloody lip. "No. For being stupid where people could record you." Mr. Carver did not flinch. That told me the number was acceptable, maybe annoying, not damaging. He took out his phone. Blaine saw it and turned red. "Damn," Mr. Carver said. "You made your temper a family expense." That was the third thing Blaine lost. The apology came first. Mr. Carver made him say it with Iris in the room and the officer at the door. Blaine stared at the floor and forced out, "I am sorry I involved you." Iris answered, "You should be sorry you hit him." Blaine's ears went red. Beautiful. Then the wire hit. My phone buzzed in my palm. The number looked fake because I had never seen that many digits attached to my name without a minus sign. $120,000. The cashback system opened over the hospital blanket. Complaint resolved. Compensation received. System points credited. Available upgrade paths unlocked. I paid the hospital charges from the same account before leaving the bed. The system rewarded the spending without giving me a lecture. A bill became points. Blaine's family money became fuel. The loop was crude, shameless, and perfect. A notification offered pain reduction, but I ignored it for the moment. Pain had value while Iris was still in the room. I kept my face blank. Inside, the old fired man from the subway platform lifted his head. Pain was cheaper than poverty when someone else was paying the bill. Mr. Carver watched me confirm the transfer receipt. I did not pretend the terms were the reward. The receipt was just Blaine's arrogance with a dollar sign. Before they left, Blaine looked at Iris one more time. She had moved to my side of the bed. That was the fourth thing he lost. When the door closed behind Blaine and his father, the room changed temperature. Iris let out a breath and sat down hard in the chair. "You scared me," she said. I scared him more. "That is not funny." "It is a little funny." She tried not to smile. "Failed." Then she looked at my swollen cheek and frowned again. "Why did you not fight back?" she asked. I could have lied. I could have said I was too weak, or too noble, or too shocked. Instead, I said, Because a punch from me would have been free. Iris stared at me. Iris did not laugh that time. She studied me like the train had been a test, and I had answered with a language she did not know yet. You planned that? She asked. I planned to survive it. You smiled after he hit you. I was thinking about interest. She pressed her lips together. You are either smarter than you look, or worse than you look. Today? I asked. Both. That finally pulled the smile back out of her. I tapped the phone against the blanket. A punch from him had a father attached. For a second, she looked at me like she was seeing the wrong species. Then she laughed under her breath and shook her head. You are terrible. Recently improved, I said. She took my phone, typed in her number, and called herself so my contact showed on her screen. I am saving this, Iris said. If you disappear after making me watch that, I will be mad. You are already mad. I can be better at it. That line stayed with me longer than the bruise. At the door, Iris paused and looked back at me. Do not use that money to do something stupid, she said. I looked at the system list glowing where only I could see it. Eyes, teeth, posture, skin, strength, tools. I am going to do something very calculated, I said. That sounds worse. It usually pays better. After she left, the room went quiet. The settlement money sat in my account. The system points sat in the corner of my vision. Blaine's apology still tasted better than the hospital ice water. I opened the upgrade screen. I expected one big button. Revenge stories always make the first prize look simple from the outside. The system was not that generous. Eyesight repair, dental correction, skin recovery, posture alignment, basic fitness correction, pain reduction, wardrobe cashback, device cashback. Each option had a cost. Each cost was rude. My old glasses lay cracked on the tray beside me. My tooth ached where Blaine's punch had snapped my jaw sideways. My back hunched from years of trying not to take up space. I had enough money to change my life. I did not have enough points to waste a single one. The system pulsed again. Recommended path. Visible correction before social return. I looked at the cracked glasses, then at my reflection in the dark hospital window. The old Nolan Reed stared back at me with blood on his lip and Blaine Carver's money in his account. I smiled, and it hurt. Fine, I whispered. Make him expensive. The first repair option opened. Somewhere across Harbor City, Blaine was probably explaining how none of this was his fault. I hoped he kept talking. Men like him got cheaper when they stayed silent. They got expensive when they defended themselves. Second lesson. Money came quick. Status cost more. The points burned faster than I liked. The first thing I bought was not revenge. It was eyesight. The cashback system took the points, and the world snapped into focus so hard I gripped the hospital sink. The cracked mirror over the basin showed every bruise Blaine Carver had paid for, but behind the swelling, the old blur was gone. No thick glasses, no squint, no watery shame from pretending I could see the board while people laughed behind me. I leaned closer. The system offered dental correction next. I accepted. Pain shot through my jaw like somebody had dragged a wire through my teeth. I slapped one hand over my mouth and breathed through it. 5 seconds later, the uneven front tooth that had made me hide my smile since high school sat straight. That one almost made me angry. The pain was not what made me angry. The easy fix was. Skin recovery cleaned the old stress dullness from my face. Posture alignment forced my shoulders back until my spine felt like it had been insulted into working. Basic fitness correction did not turn me into a movie hero. It gave me enough muscle under the cheap shirt that I no longer looked apologetic from across a room. The system kept offering more. I stopped before greed made me stupid. The balance had already dropped lower than I liked. Blaine had funded my comeback, but even his father's wire was not bottomless once the cashback system started charging for the body I should have had years ago. I bought pain reduction last. Not all of it, just enough to walk without looking broken. Then I took the cracked glasses from the tray and folded them into my pocket. Souvenir. I did one more thing before leaving the hospital. I threw the old prescription lenses into the trash and kept only the bent frames. The frames had no practical value on purpose. I wanted a piece of the old weakness small enough to fit in my pocket and sharp enough to remind me what people had been laughing at. Then I checked out with my back straight. The front desk nurse asked if someone was picking me up. I said, someone already paid for the ride. She thought I meant a car. I meant Blaine. A nurse passed the open bathroom door and paused. She had seen me come in with a swollen face, bad posture, and a scared student's body. Now she stared long enough to make the silence obvious. Do you need help? She asked. No, I said. I finally got some. She did not know what that meant. Good. By noon, I had paid the bill, bought a new phone, and walked out of Mercy Harbor Medical Center wearing the same cheap clothes on a completely different frame. The campus shop gave me the next useful reaction. I walked in wearing a wrinkled shirt and hospital discharge papers folded in my back pocket. The clerk barely looked up. 10 minutes later, after I carried a fitted hoodie, clean shoes, 2 plain shirts, and a belt to the counter, his tone changed from, student discount is over there, to, sir, do you need anything else? Sir, a stupid word. A useful word. The system credited the purchase and I watched the points crawl up a little. Not enough to make me careless. Enough to prove the loop worked, spend the enemy's money, receive a better weapon. The phone store was my first public test. The sales associate started with the tired voice people use on broke students. Then I put a new phone and a laptop on the counter. When the payment cleared, the associate stood straighter and offered a protective case like I had become worth upselling. The system flashed. Device purchase recorded, cashback points credited, not enough to make me rich, enough to make me smile. Outside, I caught my reflection in the store window. Fitted black hoodie from a campus shop. Clean shoes, new phone, no glasses. Bruise fading under skin, the system had forced back toward healthy. The old Nolan Reed had not become handsome because fate loved him. He had become expensive because Blaine Carver lost his temper in public. I respected that kind of beauty. I did not go home to admire myself. I went straight to Bayside Metropolitan University. In my first life, I had arrived late, sweaty, and scared. My old glasses had fogged from the train. Someone had called me lost before I even found the classroom. By lunch, people knew me as the weird guy from the train. By dinner, Rocco Flynn had taken my bed. This time, I walked through the main campus entrance with Blaine's money in my account and a hammer in my bag. 2 students by the entrance looked at me, then at the hospital band still around my wrist. One of them asked, "Are you on a team?" I said, "Today?" "Recovery." They laughed, but they moved aside. In my first life, people had moved around me because I was in the way. This time, they moved because they were not sure what I was. That uncertainty was a better welcome than applause. The hammer was not symbolic. It was a hammer. The classroom door opened during roll call. 20 faces turned. The professor stopped reading from the roster. "You are late." "I was at the hospital," I said. That got attention. The professor looked at the fading bruise on my cheek, then at the roster. "Name, Nolan Reed." A rustle moved through the room. Not recognition. Recalculation. A boy in the second row whispered, "That is the train guy?" Another answered, "No way! The train guy had glasses." I heard both. I let them keep whispering. Confusion was useful. It meant the old rumor had reached campus before my new face did, and now the 2 versions did not match. Talia Burke looked up first from the front row. She had the kind of smile that checked your shoes before your face. Her eyes moved from my new phone to my shoulders, then back to my face. "Hospital?" Talia asked before the professor could stop her. "That sounds dramatic." "It was profitable," I said. Trevor Baines snorted from the front. "Profitable hospital visit, that is new." The professor warned him by name. Trevor lifted both hands like he was innocent. "Just trying to understand the economy." I looked at him for the first time. "Start with supply and demand," I said. There was a large supply of arrogance on the train. I created demand for consequences. The room laughed harder than the joke deserved. Trevor did not. Useful too. A few students laughed. Sasha Wynn, sitting 2 seats behind Talia, covered her mouth and failed to hide her smile. She looked softer than Talia, less hungry. But she watched me just as carefully. Mila Vance did not smile. Mila sat near the aisle with a neat binder, a class list, and the expression of someone who believed disorder was a personal attack. She looked at me, then at the empty seat, then at the professor like she wanted permission to put the day back in a box. The professor pointed to the back. "Sit down, Mr. Reed. Catch up after class." I walked past 3 empty seats and took one near the window. Talia turned halfway around. "So, Nolan Reed, are you always this calm after hospital visits?" "No," I said. "Sometimes I bill people first." Sasha laughed out loud that time. Mila's pen stopped moving. Mila's irritation was the first campus reaction I trusted. Talia's interest could lie. Sasha's smile could soften. Mila's irritation was cleaner. Proud people hate it when the room turns without their permission. After class, Mila approached my desk before Talia could get there. She held out the class list. "Phone number. Everyone is in the class thread." Her voice was clear enough for every nearby student to hear. The line was ordinary. The position was not. Mila had planted herself between me and the girls already circling. I took the pen from her hand. "You always collect men this aggressively?" I asked. Mila's eyes sharpened. "I collect information. Men are usually less useful." Talia made a small sound behind her. Sasha whispered, "That was cold." Mila did not look back. I wrote my number slowly and handed the pen back. "Then try not to waste mine." Mila looked at the number, then at the new phone. "Expensive device for someone who claims hospital profit," Mila said. "I did not claim poverty." "You implied it." "No," I said. "People hear what makes them comfortable." Talia leaned closer to Sasha and whispered loudly enough to be heard, "He is either rich or insane." I said, "Those are not enemies." Sasha laughed again. Mila's mouth tightened, and that tiny loss of control fed the whole circle. For half a second, Mila had no answer. That half second did more for my reputation than any introduction could have. Talia slid in from the side as Mila stepped back. You are bold for a guy who just got here. It was worse when I was poor, I said. Talia's eyes brightened at the word poor because she was trying to decide whether I meant it as history or bait. Sasha glanced at the bruise on my cheek. Are you actually okay? That question was different. No angle, no class list, no price check? I looked at her and said, better than the guy who paid for it. Now the boys were listening too. I saw Trevor Baines near the front, leaning against a desk like the furniture owed him rent. Trevor had the clean campus rich boy costume down, watch, jacket, lazy stare. In my first life, he had not needed to bully me directly. He had just laughed in the right places and let smaller men do it for him. Now he watched Talia and Sasha talk to me, and his mouth flattened. Good. Desire was useful. Jealousy was faster. The professor dismissed the room. I left before the circle could turn into a question parade. Too much attention, too soon made people sloppy. I wanted them curious, not comfortable. My dorm assignment had not changed. Same building, same hallway, same smell of detergent, old pizza, and boys pretending they were men because no one made them clean. In my first life, I had asked the housing desk if I could switch rooms after Rocco Flynn dumped my bag on the floor. The desk had told me to work it out. So this time, I brought tools. The first life memory was waiting for me when I touched the door handle. Rocco throwing my suitcase into the hall, the other roommates laughing when my toothbrush rolled under the dresser. Me sleeping on the floor with my jacket folded under my neck because I thought complaining would make me look weak. The next morning, my back had hurt so much I could barely sit through class. Rocco had told everyone I chose the floor because I was low maintenance. That nickname lasted a month. I stood outside the same door in the new life and felt the old apology rise in my throat like bile. Then I reached into my bag and touched the hammer handle. The apology went back down. Rocco was already on my bed when I opened the door. He had boots on the blanket and one arm behind his head. Two other roommates stood near the closet, watching for entertainment. I did not know their names then, and I never needed to. They were the kind of background men who laughed only when the biggest idiot laughed first. Rocco looked me over. He did not recognize the body, but he recognized the shape of an opportunity. New guy, he said. Lower bunk is mine. You can take the desk until we find you floor space. I set my bag down. That is my bed. Rocco smiled. Was. The two roommates laughed. I unzipped the bag. Rocco sat up a little. What, you got snacks in there? No, I said. I pulled out the hammer and placed it on the pillow beside his boot. The room went quiet in a way that finally felt earned. Rocco stared at the hammer. Then he looked at me. You threatening me? I'm unpacking, I said. One roommate took a step toward the door. Rocco tried to save the moment. You think a hammer makes you tough? One of the roommates gave a nervous laugh. It died when nobody joined him. Rocco looked at the door, then at me, calculating whether he could still make this a joke. Campus security would love this, he said. Then call them, I said. Tell them you stole a bed and got scared of hardware. The roommate closest to the closet whispered, Rocco, just get up. That whisper did what my words could not. It told Rocco his audience had changed sides before the fight even started. No, I said. I think asking once makes me polite. His eyes moved to my bruised cheek, then to my shoulders, then back to the hammer. I let him count the situation. Big men love math when the number is in their favor. They hate it when the equation changes. Rocco swung his boots off the bed. Whatever, he muttered. Bad mattress anyway. He stood and walked toward the door like leaving had been his idea. The other roommates followed too quickly. I said, You forgot your pillow. Rocco stopped. The pillow was still on my bed. He looked at the hammer again, grabbed the pillow with 2 fingers, and left without another word. For the first time, a dorm room felt like mine. I shut the door, locked it, and let myself breathe. Not long. Rest is where old habits try to crawl back in. My phone buzzed with a class thread message before I finished unpacking. Mila had added me. Talia had already sent a waving emoji. Sasha had asked if I needed notes. The boys had sent nothing, which meant they were talking somewhere else. The cashback system flashed faintly. Social status shift detected. Minor points credited. I laughed. Even the system knew humiliation was a currency. The class thread turned vicious before breakfast. Nobody wrote my name at first. They wrote around me, the hospital, the missing glasses, the hammer on the bed. Then Talia posted, Does Nolan take coffee? Asking for public safety. Sasha answered, He probably takes notes too, since he missed part of class. Mila replied with one clean line. This thread is for academic use. Talia sent a laughing emoji anyway. I read the messages while sitting on the edge of the bed Rocco had surrendered. The hammer lay beside my folded clothes. The cracked glasses sat on the desk. 3 objects. 3 versions of me. The old loser in the frames. The new warning on the pillow. The phone in my hand, buzzing because people who had ignored me once were now doing free advertising. I typed nothing. Silence makes rumors work harder. By the next morning, the rumor had grown legs. The hospital, the vanished glasses, Rocco leaving his own room. Someone in the thread called me campus shark and nobody corrected it. I walked into class with coffee I did not need and sat down like the room had been saving the chair. Talia looked pleased to see me. Sasha looked relieved. Mila looked annoyed that both of them looked at me at all. The professor had not arrived yet, which meant the room belonged to whoever spoke first. Trevor understood that kind of empty space. He had used it well in my first life, filling silence with expensive little comments until everyone accepted him as the default authority. This time, I watched him wind himself up. The professor came in a minute later, opened the lecture, and turned to the board. Trevor Baines waited for that exact second. Then he leaned back in his chair and made sure his voice carried. "Careful, Reed," Trevor said. "A cheap glow-up does not make you important around people with real family property." The room tilted toward him. The old Nolan would have swallowed it. He would have laughed along because laughing with the knife feels safer than admitting where it went in. This time, I did not even blink. I looked at Trevor's watch, then at his smile, and remembered exactly which building lobby his family liked to pose in. I said nothing yet. Some men need to finish bragging before you cut the price tag off them. Trevor had just opened his mouth wide enough for the receipt, and I already knew the humiliating total down to the last ugly dollar. Trevor Baines thought family property was a throne. First mistake. His second mistake was saying it loudly while I was still angry from the night before. The professor had turned to the board. The room had leaned toward Trevor like he had paid rent on the air. Talia Burke smiled because rich boys were always at least interesting until proven broke. Sasha Wynn looked uncomfortable but curious. Mila Vance kept her pen still over her notes, pretending she was above the whole thing while listening harder than anyone. Trevor leaned back and said, "Careful, Reed. A cheap glow-up does not make you important around people with real family property." I looked at his watch again. Then I asked, "Which property?" That one question took the smile off him for half a second. He recovered fast. Trevor had survived on confidence longer than some people survived on food. He laughed. "You want the list?" "No," I said. "I want you to pick the lie you like best." The room went quiet. Talia turned all the way around in her seat. Sasha's eyes widened. Mila finally looked up from her binder. Trevor's face hardened. "My family owns half of Harbor City. 8 apartments," I said. The number landed so cleanly that nobody laughed at first. Trevor blinked. I kept my voice lazy. 8 apartments split across relatives, 2 mortgages still biting your family in the ankle, 1 lobby downtown where you keep taking photos like the marble belongs to you. A boy near the window coughed into his sleeve. It sounded suspiciously like a laugh. Trevor sat forward. "You do not know anything about my family. I know your uncle owns 3 of them and hates when your father calls them family holdings," I said. "I know your aunt paid the tax bill on the 4th because your father was waiting for a tenant who stopped paying. I know the lobby you post is not even residential. It is the front of a building where your family has 1 unit and a very enthusiastic camera angle." Now the room laughed in the dangerous way that tells a man his crown has become a party hat. Trevor's ears went red before his mouth caught up. "You stalked me? You bragged," I said. I listened. Almost true. In my first life, Trevor had gotten drunk during senior year and cried into a plastic cup about those same 8 apartments. He had called them an empire until a real investor's son corrected him in front of 2 girls. Trevor had never forgiven the correction. He had spent the rest of that party insulting everyone poorer than him because the rich had already laughed. Old life memory was a receipt I had already paid for. Trevor tried to stand. "Say that again?" The professor turned around. "Mr. Baines." Trevor froze because authority had finally noticed him. I did not stand. Standing would have made it a fight. Sitting made it worse. I said, 8 apartments, 2 mortgages, 1 borrowed lobby. Talia made a tiny sound like she had just watched a handbag turn fake in public. Sasha covered her mouth, but her eyes gave her away. Mila's pen moved again. She wrote something small in the corner of her page, then crossed it out when she saw me looking. Trevor pointed at me. "You think knowing gossip makes you somebody?" "No," I said. "Knowing when to stop talking would make you somebody. You should try it." The professor said, "Enough." Trevor sat down because he had no better option. Cruel part, he had invited the room to measure us, and now the whole room was holding a ruler against him. The lecture restarted, but nobody really returned to it. People watched Trevor's shoulders. They watched Talia stop looking at his watch. They watched Sasha sneak another glance at me like she was checking whether I was done being dangerous. Mila watched differently. She was not impressed in the soft way. Mila looked irritated that I had solved a social problem with 1 sharp number instead of procedure, rank, or permission. Proud people like rules until someone else breaks the room better than they enforce it. When class ended, Trevor moved first. He blocked the aisle near my desk. His smile was back, thinner now. "You got lucky with a rumor. You got unlucky with the truth." Talia laughed before she could stop herself. Trevor's eyes cut toward her. That hurt him more than my line did. Talia was not loyal to money. She was loyal to the smell of it. The moment his rich boy scent turned cheap, she stepped back without moving her feet. Trevor said, "Careful, campus shark. Harbor City is small when families start talking." I stood up. He was not short, but he still looked smaller when I stopped letting him tower over a desk. Then tell your family, I said. Start with the aunt paying the tax bill. She sounds organized. The students near us broke. The laugh spread down the aisle quick and ugly. Trevor's jaw worked once. He wanted to swing. I could see it. But Blaine Carver had taught me a useful lesson on the train. Rich boys like violence only when they believe the room will edit the story for them. Trevor had just lost the editor. Mila stepped between us with her binder against her chest. Move! Trevor said. Mila did not. She looked at him first. If you start something in class, it becomes the whole department's entertainment by dinner. Then she looked at me. And you, stop treating the class like a betting table. I prefer tables that pay, I said. That is not a defense, I called it accounting. Her eyes narrowed. You are enjoying this. A little, I said. He said half of Harbor City. I gave him a discount. Sasha laughed under her breath. Talia touched Trevor's sleeve like she wanted to calm him, then let go when she remembered everyone was watching. That tiny retreat was another public loss. Trevor saw it too. He turned and walked out before he could lose anything else. The room did not go back to normal after he left. That was the point. Status is not a crown. It is a habit other people repeat for you. Trevor had trained the room to treat him like money. I had made the room repeat a different habit in under 5 minutes. The professor tried to reclaim the last minute with an assignment reminder. Nobody cared. A student behind me whispered, 8 apartments is still rich though. Another student answered, not after saying half the city. Humiliation does not need to erase the truth. It only needs to make the lie louder than the truth ever was. Trevor still had more than most students. He still had clean shoes, family help, and a watch he touched whenever he needed courage. But he had sold himself as untouchable, and I had put a discount sticker on him in public. Myla heard the whispers and tapped her pen once against the binder. This is why rumors get stupid, she said. No, I said. This is why people should price themselves accurately. She looked at me like she wanted to argue and hated that the sentence had a receipt attached. Talia leaned over Sasha's desk. For the record, if my family had 8 apartments, I would absolutely lie upward. Sasha said, that is not a good thing. It is an honest bad thing. Mila closed her binder harder than necessary. You 3 are exhausting. You counted yourself in that group, I said. Her eyes snapped to mine. Too late. The room caught it. Not enough for a full laugh. Enough for a new line in the invisible ledger. Mila Vance had accidentally stood inside the circle she was pretending to supervise. By lunch, the class thread had already mutated. Someone wrote, 8 apartments is still more than my family has. Someone else answered, 2 mortgages and 1 borrowed lobby though. Talia sent, please stop. I am trying not to laugh in public. Mila posted, this thread is not for gossip. Then Sasha wrote, technically it started during class discussion. I stared at that line and smiled. Soft girls are dangerous when they learn timing. The cashback system flickered at the edge of my vision while I walked across campus. Public status shift detected, minor points credited. I almost laughed in the open. Even the system understood Trevor had paid something. Not money yet. Pride, attention, girl interest. The softer currencies spend better than people admit. Talia caught up near the courtyard, walking fast enough to look accidental. So, she said, are you secretly in real estate? No. Then how did you know? Trevor talks like a man who has never paid a bill, I said. Those men always exaggerate upward. Talia studied me. That is not an answer. It is the only free one. She smiled at that. Talia liked locked doors because she assumed the room behind them had something expensive inside. Sasha came up beside her with a notebook pressed to her chest. You probably should be careful. Trevor looked really angry. He looked poor, Talia said. Sasha gave her a look. Talia shrugged. Emotionally poor. Mila walked past us as if she had not been listening from 3 steps away. Mila, Talia called. Coffee? Mila did not stop. No, Sasha said. We were going anyway. Mila stopped. That 1 second told me more than her answer. She did not want coffee. She wanted to know why the room kept bending toward me. So I said, I am buying! Talia turned bright. Sasha smiled. Mila looked offended by the entire economic structure of the sentence. I can buy my own coffee, Mila said. Good, I said. Then you can buy mine. Talia laughed so hard she had to grab Sasha's arm. Mila stared at me. You are unbelievable. I have been called worse by people with better property. That got her, not a smile. Worse. The corner of her mouth almost moved, and she hated herself for it. We ended up at the campus cafe because Mila wanted to prove she had not followed us, which meant she followed us with extra posture. The cafe was full enough to be useful. Students with laptops, a cashier pretending not to listen, 2 athletes near the window, a man in a black jacket at the counter who kept looking at Sasha like he had mistaken politeness for permission. I noticed him because Sasha noticed him first. She moved closer to Talia. Mila saw it too. Her face cooled. The man stepped into their path when they reached the pickup counter. You girls from Bayside? He asked. Mila said, move, clear, sharp, wrong audience. The man smiled. I asked a friendly question. And she gave you useful advice, I said from behind him. He turned and looked me over. He saw the bruise fading on my face. He saw the new clothes. He saw 3 girls behind him and decided I had something he wanted to take down in front of them. Men like that are painfully easy to read because they think everyone else is. He said, "This your little fan club?" Talia's smile disappeared. Sasha looked at the floor. Mila said, "Do not answer him." I answered anyway. "No, I charge more for clubs." The man reached past me towards Sasha's cup. "Relax, I am joking." His fingers touched Sasha's wrist. I moved before he finished the word. One hand on his wrist, one turn. Practical pressure in the direction his joint hated most. His knees bent fast. The cup hit the counter, coffee sloshing over the lid. He hissed, "Let go, move," I said. Mila had said the same word a minute earlier. The difference was that now his body believed it. The athletes near the window stood halfway up, not to help him, to see if this was worth filming. I lowered my voice. "You touched her because you thought the cafe would protect you from consequences. It will not." The man tried to twist free. I added half an inch of pressure. His face went pale. "Okay," he snapped. "Okay." I let go. He backed up, rubbing his wrist, trying to turn retreat into anger. "You are crazy." "Cheap word," I said. "Try grateful. Your wrist still works." The cashier made a sound behind the register. It might have been a laugh. It might have been fear. Either was fine. The man left without his drink. The cafe released a breath. Sasha whispered, "Thank you." Her voice mattered. It changed the scene from violence to rescue. Talia looked at me like she had just discovered a price tag she could not afford, but wanted to touch anyway. Mila did not thank me. She stared at my hand. "You knew exactly where to press," she said. "Wrists are honest," I said. "That is a disturbing sentence." "You asked." Mila looked at Sasha, then at the door where the man had vanished. Her expression shifted once, relief, buried under pride so fast another person might have missed it. I did not miss it. The cashback system flashed again when I paid for the coffees. Protector action recorded. Private line perk available. I stopped with my card still in the reader. The cashier said, "Sir?" "Sorry," I said. "Bad habit. I like reading receipts." Talia leaned close. "That is the worst rich boy excuse I have ever heard." "I am new," I said. The system prompt stayed in the corner of my vision. Private line, a privacy perk. A hidden channel. One-time routing shield for contact through an existing public identity. The system gave rewards like that when money was only half the payment. Trevor had paid with status. The man in the cafe had paid with fear. Sasha had paid with gratitude. Mila had paid with attention she did not want to admit she had spent. I accepted the perk while Talia argued with Sasha about whether my coffee order was boring. The interface opened a narrow prompt. Target public identity. I already knew which door I wanted to knock on. Mila Vance had been class rep in my first life too. Cold. Precise. Untouchable unless you knew where she hid the heat. Years later, after college had already chewed me up, I had found an online serial under the name Ms. Voltage. Same clipped insults. Same obsession with crowned women who wanted control but secretly hated being watched. Same favorite phrase Mila had once used in class when she thought nobody remembered it. Back then, knowing it had done nothing for me. Knowledge without nerve is just trivia. Now the system gave me a private door, and I finally had nerve. I did not search for long. I did not need to. The private line found the public author page and asked for a message. Mila sat across the cafe from me, pretending to review notes while watching my reflection in the window. I typed one sentence to Ms. Voltage. "Your villain queen is not cruel enough. She keeps asking permission before she ruins people." I sent it. Across the table, Mila's phone buzzed. She glanced down. Her face did not change much. Mila had excellent control, but her hand stopped over the screen. That was enough. Talia was talking about the pier. Sasha was asking if everyone wanted to go on the weekend. Mila's phone buzzed again with my second message. Also, her crown should feel like a leash only if she chooses who holds it. Mila looked up sharply. Not at her phone. At me. I sipped my coffee and said nothing. She did not know. Not fully. Not yet. But the proud class rep had just felt a stranger touch the locked room under her public face. 10 minutes later, after Talia and Sasha started walking ahead, Mila slowed beside me outside the cafe. "Do you write?" she asked. "Texts, threats, receipts. That is not what I meant." "Then ask better." Her eyes searched my face. "You talk like someone who thinks he knows people. People keep explaining themselves at high volume. And you keep pretending that is enough." I smiled. "Pretending is your department, class rep." That line hit too close. Mila's phone buzzed in her hand. She looked at the screen. Ms. Voltage had answered. I did not need to see it. The private line copied the reply into my system view. "Why does your feedback sound like you know me in real life?" Mila's fingers tightened around the phone. Trevor's borrowed lobby had made me dangerous in public. Mila's secret page made me dangerous in private. Since I came back to Bayside, the girl who liked controlling the room now had to wonder whether someone had already found the room she hid inside. Ms. Voltage waited 12 minutes before sending the next message. Mila Vance waited 12 minutes before pretending not to care. The hook had gone in. The next morning, she arrived in class with the same neat binder, the same cold face, and a phone-turned screen down beside her notebook. Every time it buzzed, her pen pressed harder into the page. Talia Burke noticed the phone first. Of course she did. Talia noticed secrets the way some people notice perfume. Popular today? Talia asked Mila. Mila did not look up. Unlike some people, I use my phone for work. Talia smiled. That was mean for free. Then consider it charity. Sasha Wynn made a small choking sound behind her notebook. I sat 2 seats away and opened the private line. Ms. Voltage had typed, deleted, typed again, and finally left one message. Do I know you? I answered after the professor turned to the board. You know the type. That is worse. Mila's phone buzzed. Her jaw tightened. The professor asked a question about market confidence. 3 students looked down. Mila should have answered. She always answered when silence made the room disorderly. This time, she missed the opening. Trevor Baines tried to take it. Confidence is when investors trust real assets, he said too loudly. I did not even turn. Careful with real assets. The room laughed before Trevor could finish inhaling. Trevor, shut up. Mila finally looked at me, and that look had murder in it. Good. Murder was attention with better posture. After class, Sasha invited everyone to Harbor Pier that weekend. She did it softly, like she expected the invitation to be rejected and wanted to give the world a head start. Talia agreed before Sasha finished speaking. Pier food, ocean wind, and Nolan buying things. I support community bonding. I did not say I was buying, I said. Talia pointed at me. You implied disposable income. People hear what makes them comfortable. Mila closed her binder. I am busy. Her phone buzzed again. She looked down before she could stop herself. I sent one more line to Ms. Voltage. If your queen never leaves the castle, the reader stops believing she can bleed. Mila read it. Then she said, fine, 1 hour at Harbor Pier. Talia's smile turned sharp. That was easy, Mila said. I changed my mind. Sasha looked pleased. Great, we can go after lunch. Mila avoided my eyes. She did not know I had opened the door. She only knew somebody had knocked from the inside. Harbor Pier was crowded enough to hide intention and loud enough to make every private reaction feel stolen. Food carts, student couples, cheap souvenir stands, children dragging parents toward the railing, gulls screaming like they had opinions about capitalism. The place smelled like salt, fried dough, and bad financial choices. In my first life, I had hated places like that because they sold little proofs of affection. Caitlin Shaw had once stopped at a jewelry stall just like the one near the pier entrance. She had picked up a silver necklace, held it against her throat, and laughed when I checked the price too slowly. You do not have to buy it, she had said. So I bought it. Old Nolan heard Mercy in a test and paid to fail slower. Caitlin wore that necklace once. Later, in the photo with Drew Haskell, I saw a different chain on her neck and understood how cheap my sacrifice had looked from outside. This time, I stopped at a stall because I wanted to. Talia drifted closer at once. Oh, she said. This is suddenly romantic. It is suddenly metal. Sasha smiled at a rack of charms. These are cute. Mila stood 3 steps back with her arms crossed. We came here for food, not trinkets. Trinkets survive longer than most promises, I said. That shut her up. I picked up a small silver bookmark charm shaped like a narrow blade with a tiny crown at the top. Cheap enough to keep me honest. Specific enough to make Talia wonder where it was going, and Mila uncomfortable. The vendor said, Gift box. No, I said. If I box it, people start believing they are owed an ending. Talia laughed. Who are you buying it for? A woman who understands villains. Sasha blinked. That is either very sweet or very worrying. Correct, I said. Mila's eyes moved to the crown on the charm. Just once. Then she looked away like the metal had insulted her. I paid. The cashback system gave me a small credit. The number barely mattered. The reaction did. Talia tried to touch the charm. I lifted it out of reach. So not for me, she said. You recover quickly. I recover expensively. Sasha laughed. Mila did not. We ate fried dough near the railing. Talia stole bites from everyone. Sasha fed a piece to a bird and apologized when Talia accused her of rewarding theft. Mila pretended she was above peer food, then ate half the container when she thought nobody was counting. I counted because proud people tell the truth with their hands before their mouths agree. The silver bookmark charm stayed in my pocket. That bothered them more than if I had given it away. Talia kept circling back to it between bites. So the woman who understands villains, is she real? Painfully. Do I know her? You know everyone when they look expensive enough. Talia accepted that as a compliment because greed has excellent self-esteem. Sasha glanced toward Mila. Maybe it is for a book. Mila's head turned a little too quickly. Why would you say that? Sasha shrugged. It is a bookmark. A charm, Mila said. A bookmark charm, Sasha said, gentle but stubborn. Mila looked annoyed that the correction had trapped her into proving she had looked at it closely. I took the charm out and let it rest across my fingers. The tiny crown caught the pure light. A queen can use it to mark the page where she stops forgiving people, I said. Mila's eyes went to the crown again. Talia leaned in. That is weirdly specific. Specific cells. Are you flirting with someone in front of us or insulting all of us at once? Efficient men combine errands. Talia laughed. Sasha turned pink. Mila looked away, but her phone was already in her hand. Third useful reaction of the afternoon. The first was Talia's greed. The second was Sasha's innocent guess. The third was Mila checking a screen she claimed had nothing to do with us. I did not need to force the secret. I only needed to place the same symbol in two worlds and watch which woman flinched in both. The private line buzzed while Talia was arguing that rich men should be legally required to buy dessert. Ms. Voltage had sent a longer message. My villain queen is supposed to be feared, but readers keep calling her cold. I need tension that feels personal without making her weak. I looked at Mila across the table. She was wiping sugar from her thumb, annoyed at the world for making sweetness practical. I answered Ms. Voltage. Give her an object she would hate in public but understand in private, then let the wrong person see it. Mila's phone buzzed. Her eyes flicked down. She read. Her face went still. Then she typed under the table. What kind of object? I should have been careful right then. I was careful, just not kind. The cashback system had a small shop of ridiculous perks and physical rewards that looked harmless until people touched them in the wrong room. Most were useless. Some were dangerous because people are dangerous with context missing. I found a stage prop box under novelty author tools, black velvet choker, silver tag. The tag read, property of the crown. In a private draft room, it was a villain queen prop. In a public cafeteria, it was social dynamite. The system asked for a delivery target through the private line. I should say I hesitated for moral reasons. I hesitated because points were still scarce. Then I bought it. Enemy money had fixed my eyes. Public shame had funded my status. If the system wanted to turn a writing prop into leverage, I was not going to pretend I had become a saint after 3 good coffees. I sent Ms. Voltage one final message for the day. A crown is obvious. A leash is honest. Make the queen decide which one she wears. Mila read it at the pier and almost dropped her phone. Talia saw. Her eyes narrowed with interest. That small, ugly spark made the next day burn. On the walk back, Talia kept drifting behind Mila like a woman following a sale sign. Mila noticed by the second block. If you need something, say it, Mila snapped. Talia lifted both hands. I am admiring your mysterious work ethic. Admire from farther away. Fine. But if you are secretly dating someone rich, I am professionally offended you did not introduce me, Sasha said. Talia. What? I said professionally. Mila's answer was, the day I date someone for money, I will send you a thank you card for the inspiration. Talia laughed, but not comfortably. That line mattered later. It made the cafeteria believe Mila had something worth hiding. Talia did not need proof after that. She needed a box, an audience, and the confidence of a person who had never been punished for touching another girl's wound. I could have stopped the spark there. I did not. The system had shown me the prop. Mila had asked for tension. Talia had volunteered herself as the hand that would make it public. Some traps are built by villains. Some are built by bored pretty girls trying to prove they are the smartest person at lunch. The package arrived during lunch, not to my hands, to Mila's. I paid for a clean delivery to the public identity's real campus drop. No visible sender, no messy explanation. The system did not show off. It simply placed a dangerous object where pride and curiosity could fight over it. Mila walked into the cafeteria with a small black box tucked under her binder. I saw it! Talia saw it too! Sasha saw Talia seeing it and immediately looked worried. The cafeteria was already loud. Trevor sat with 2 boys near the middle, trying to laugh like yesterday had not happened. Bianca Ellery sat near the windows with a drink she had not touched, alone by choice in a way that made the empty chairs around her look expensive. Bianca had been around campus before, but not in my orbit. She had the kind of beauty that did not ask for attention because attention had learned to come kneel on its own. People lowered their voices near her without being told. Talia moved first. Mila, she said, sweet enough to rot teeth. Did someone send you a gift? Mila held the box closer. No, that looked like a box. Excellent vision. Talia laughed and reached for it. Come on, we are all friends. Mila stepped back. Touch my things and I break your fingers. Every table nearby heard that. Talia's smile brightened because Mila had given the room a reason to look. Wow, Talia said. That's serious? Sasha grabbed Talia's sleeve. Leave it. Talia did not leave it. She never did when attention was warm. Trevor called from the next table. What is in the box, class rep? Love letter from the department? Mila's face went cold. Talia used that second. She hooked one finger under the ribbon and pulled. The lid slipped. Mila slapped her hand down too late. The black velvet choker fell out and hit the cafeteria floor with the softest possible sound. The silver tag landed face up. Property of the crown. For one beautiful, horrible second, nobody understood it. Then everyone understood too much. Trevor made a choking laugh. Talia's eyes went wide, then delighted, then a little scared because the room's attention got bigger than she expected. Sasha whispered, "Talia!" Mila stared at the choker. Her face lost color so quickly that even I felt the edge of it. This was not the cold class rep being teased. This was Miss Voltage's locked drawer kicked open in a lunchroom. Trevor stood up. "Property of the crown? Mila, I did not know you had hobbies." The boys near him laughed. Talia tried to recover control. "Okay, wait, maybe it is for a costume." "Then why hide it?" Trevor said. Mila bent to pick up the choker. Trevor stepped closer like he wanted a better look. I moved one step, and he stopped. Good. Some lessons stick when they bruise the ego hard enough. I said, "Careful, Trevor. You already lost one family asset this week. Do not add teeth." The boys at his table laughed at him that time. Trevor sat down with murder in his eyes and nothing useful in his mouth. Mila picked up the choker. For a second, I thought she might run. That would have been normal. Mila was many things. Normal was not one of them. She looked at Talia first. Talia's smile shook. Mila said, "You opened someone else's property in public." Talia lifted both hands. "It fell." "No," Mila said. "You wanted an audience." The cafeteria quieted in patches. Mila turned slowly toward the window table. Bianca Ellery finally looked up. Everyone made the same mistake with Bianca. They thought her distance meant safety. It did not. It meant she was expensive to offend. Mila walked straight to her. Sasha whispered, "Oh no," Talia said. "Mila, wait." Mila did not wait. She stopped beside Bianca's table, held up the choker and said, loudly enough for the nearby tables to hear, "Your Majesty, your property caused a problem." Bianca stared at her. The entire cafeteria forgot how to chew. Bianca said, "Excuse me?" Mila's smile appeared. All cliff-edge violence and zero mercy. She looked like a woman falling and deciding to grab the richest person on the way down. "Do not act innocent now," Mila said. "If you send dramatic gifts, you can help explain them." Bianca stood up. She did not raise her voice. She did not need to. "I have no idea what that is." "Perfect," Mila said. "Neither do I." The line spread faster than a fire alarm. Talia's face changed. She had wanted Mila embarrassed, not Bianca involved. A rumor aimed at one proud girl had just hit the heiress. Nobody wanted angry. I watched the cafeteria choose sides without anyone announcing it. Trevor stopped laughing. The boys near him looked at Bianca and looked away. Sasha looked close to panic. Talia mouthed my name like she had just realized I might understand the shape of the disaster. I did not answer her. Mila held the choker between two fingers and placed it on Bianca's table. "If anyone asks," Mila said, "the crown belongs to you." Bianca looked from the choker to Mila, then to me. That last look was brief. Too brief for anyone else to make much of it. But it told me one thing. Bianca had noticed I was not surprised. Bad. Interesting, but bad. Bianca picked up the choker by the silver tag and dropped it into her empty drink cup like it was contaminated. "Clean your mess," she said to Mila. Mila leaned closer. "It became our mess when you looked at it." The cafeteria exploded, not all at once, in pieces. A table whispering, a phone coming out, someone near the door repeating our mess like it was a headline. Trevor trying to laugh and failing. Talia shrinking from the center of the gossip she had created. I stepped beside Sasha before the crowd pushed too close. Sasha looked at me. "Did you know what was in that box?" Dangerous question. So I gave her the safest true answer. I knew it was trouble. Nolan. I did not open it. She looked away, not satisfied, not angry enough to leave. Useful middle ground. Mila turned back toward me with the choker gone and her reputation bleeding in public. I expected fury. She gave me something worse. A challenge. Her eyes said she knew the invisible hand had touched the box, even if she could not prove whose hand it was. Miss Voltage sent one message to the private line before lunch ended. "If this is your idea of feedback, you are insane," typed back under the table. "Your queen finally did something cruel. You're welcome." Across the cafeteria, Mila read the message, her lips parted. Then she laughed once, not loud, not happy, but real enough that Bianca's eyes sharpened. For the first time, I saw Mila Vance lose control and choose violence with a smile. The payoff landed before I could enjoy it. By evening, the rumor had left the cafeteria and started wearing a suit. People were not just saying Mila had a secret gift. They were saying Bianca had sent it. They were saying Mila had claimed Bianca. They were saying the crown was a private joke, a challenge, a power game, a relationship, a threat. Every version was wrong. Every version was useful to somebody. Talia sent me 3 messages and deleted 2. Sasha asked if Mila was okay. Trevor posted nothing, which meant he was trying to find a version that made him look brave without standing near Bianca. Bianca posted nothing. That silence was heavier than all the gossip. The next morning, I walked toward campus with coffee in one hand and the private line quiet in my vision. For once, the system did not need to warn me. The consequence arrived in black paint and tinted windows. A black Ellery town car stopped outside the Bayside gate. The driver lowered the window, looked directly at me, and said, "Mr. Reed, Mr. Ellery would like a word." The black Ellery town car did not block the campus gate. It did not need to. People walked around it like the car had legal ownership of the sidewalk. The driver knew my name. Message received. Rich families rarely shout when they can make tinted glass do it for them. Talia Burke saw the car from across the courtyard and stopped so fast, Sasha Wynn bumped into her. Sasha looked from the driver to me. "Nolan, do you know them?" "Apparently," I said. "They know me." Mila Vance stood near the steps with her binder held too tight. She had arrived early, probably to look unaffected by the rumor that she had personally set on fire. When she saw the Ellery car, her face did not change. Her knuckles did. Bianca Ellery sat in the back seat. She did not wave. She looked at me through the open window like I was an unpaid invoice. "Get in," Bianca said. Talia made a small sound that was half envy, half survival instinct. Mila said, "You do not have to go." Funny, coming from Mila. She had dragged Bianca into the rumor in front of half the cafeteria. Now Bianca's family had sent a car, and Mila wanted to pretend choices still looked clean. I stepped closer to the car. "Is this a kidnapping?" I asked Bianca. Her eyes narrowed. "If it were, I would not let you bring coffee." Generous. "Do not test me before breakfast." I got in. The door closed with a soft, expensive sound, and the campus outside turned into a moving audience. Students stared. Talia stared hardest. Sasha looked worried. Mila looked like she wanted to stop the car with her bare hands and then claimed she had simply been crossing the road. Bianca watched them through the glass. "You enjoy being seen," she said. "Only when it pays." "Then congratulations," my family noticed. She set a paper cup in the holder between us. "For you," Bianca said. I looked at it. Poison, decaf, crueler. Her mouth twitched before she killed the reaction. That tiny twitch made the ride more dangerous, not less. Bianca was not a simple rich girl throwing a tantrum. She could enjoy a line while planning to use the person who said it. That made her useful and annoying, which was a powerful combination in my life lately. I took the cup anyway. "If this is a peace offering, it is bad," I said. "It is not peace. It is proof you can accept something from my family without making a speech. I charge extra for speeches. My father might actually pay. Then I will speak slowly." Bianca looked out the window. "Do not charm him. You think I can? I think men like my father collect dangerous tools and call it judgment." She had said that out loud. Not private motive, not hidden plan, a warning. It also told me she had not brought me to Ellery Estate because she wanted me crushed immediately. She wanted to see whether I crushed well. I took one sip of coffee. The choker was not mine. Bianca's smile did not reach her eyes. I did not ask. Worse than accusation. Accusation gives you a door to fight through. Bianca's tone said she already had a room prepared. We left Bayside Metropolitan University and drove toward the part of Harbor City where the lawns got wider and the houses started pretending they were not houses. Ellery Estate sat behind iron gates, all pale stone, trimmed hedges, and windows tall enough to make normal people feel temporary. In my first life, I had only seen places like that through online articles and late rent anxiety. This time, the gate opened because a rumor had made me useful. Progress with claws. Bianca led me inside without giving a tour. Good. Tours are for people you want to impress. I had been brought in because something ugly had attached itself to the family name. Arthur Ellery waited in a sunlit room with coffee already poured. Helena Ellery sat beside him, sharp-eyed and calm, the kind of woman who could turn silence into a background check. Arthur stood when I entered. "Nolan Reed," he said. "The young man from Bayside." "That depends which version reached you," I said. Helena's mouth curved. "Several, none of them polite." Bianca crossed her arms. "Most of them false." Arthur looked at his daughter, then at me. "False rumors can still move markets." That line told me what kind of father he was. Not soft, not stupid. Anxious, yes, but only because Bianca's scandal had touched something he measured in reputation, leverage, and family control. I sat when he gestured. Helena watched the way I moved. The new posture the system had bought me. The bruise fading from Blaine's payment. The clothes that were clean but not old money. She saw the mismatch and did not dismiss it. Arthur said, "Bianca tells me you were present when this cafeteria issue began." I was present when Talia opened a box that was not hers. Bianca's eyes flicked toward me. Good. She had expected me to dodge. I gave her a name because Talia's action was visible, not private motive. Helena asked, "And Mila Vance?" "Proud," I said. "Cornered. Fast." Bianca gave a dry laugh. "Fast." She threw me into her mess. "You were the most expensive shield in the room." Arthur laughed once. Bianca did not. Helena leaned back. "That is a shameless answer. It is also accurate." Arthur tapped one finger on the arm of his chair. "I dislike scandal. I dislike my daughter being made a character in someone else's little campus play, but I dislike weakness more." Bianca looked at him. Dad. He ignored the warning. You did not panic in the cafeteria. I was eating, I said. You were watching. Watching is free. And profitable, in your case? I smiled. Sometimes. Arthur's attention sharpened. There was the door. I did not kick it open. Rich men hate being rushed unless they are the ones rushing you. I set the handle in his hand and let him think he found it. Arthur said, Bianca mentioned you embarrassed Trevor Baines before this? Trevor embarrassed Trevor Baines, I narrated. Helena laughed softly. Bianca looked annoyed that her mother laughed. Arthur said, your reputation is growing quickly for a student who just returned to campus. Reputations are cheaper when enemies advertise for you. And investments? Arthur asked. Do you treat those the same way? There it was. The rumor and the choker had only opened the door. Money was the room. The subject rich families eventually trust more than feelings. I could have given him a lecture. I could have talked models, risk, sectors, discipline. I had enough old life memory and system-assisted confidence to sound impressive for 10 minutes. 10 minutes would have killed the room. So I gave him one line. Bad investors fall in love with stories, I said. Good investors charge stories rent. Arthur sat back. Helena looked at me like she had found a knife in a silverware drawer and was deciding whether it belonged there. Bianca said, that means nothing. It means your father's question is not whether I can pick a number on a screen, I said. It is whether I can make greed pay for its own chair. Arthur smiled. Bianca saw the smile and hated me a little more for causing it. Fine. Hatred with attention was still attention. I had spent worse currencies. The meeting could have become polite. Arthur could have asked for grades. Helena could have asked about my family. Bianca could have denied every rumor until the room suffocated on manners. Instead, Arthur slid a thin folder across the table. Bayside's finance simulation opens public ranking this week, he said. Students compete with mock portfolios. Recruiters watch the top board. Family offices watch too, when their children make enough noise. Bianca's face changed. You cannot be serious. Arthur looked at her. I am curious. About him? About whether the rumor brought us a problem or a tool. I left the folder closed. That made Arthur's eyes brighten. Most people open whatever a rich man slides toward them. I wanted him to notice I could leave bait on the table until the hook was worth my time. What happens if I am neither? I asked. Helena answered before Arthur. Then you are a young man who should be careful around bored rich girls, Bianca said. Mom! Helena smiled. I did not specify which one. For the first time since I stepped into Ellery Estate, Bianca had no clean reply. I almost liked Helena. Almost. Arthur stood. Compete. Let the board answer the first question. If you embarrass yourself, the rumor loses oxygen. If you do well, we discuss whether useful people deserve useful accounts. And Bianca? I asked. Bianca's stare sharpened. Arthur glanced at her. Bianca can decide whether she wants to watch. I already watched enough, she said. I picked up the folder then. No, I said. You watched a cafeteria. This one has numbers. Bianca's smile was cold. Try not to confuse attention with talent, Nolan. Try not to confuse family money with pressure, I said. I grew up broke. Pressure raised me. Helena's eyes moved from me to Bianca. Arthur laughed again. By the time the driver returned me to campus, the story had already outrun the car. Someone had seen me leave with Bianca. Someone had seen the Ellery Gate sticker on the windshield. Someone had turned. Mr. Ellery would like a word into. Nolan got summoned to the estate. Into Bianca's father is testing him. Talia met me near the classroom door like a reporter with better lipstick. So, she asked, did they threaten you, bribe you, or adopt you? Still reviewing options. Sasha touched my sleeve lightly. Are you okay? Better fed than expected. Mila stood behind them quiet. New. Mila did not do quiet unless she was loading a weapon. She said, you went. The car had comfortable seats. That is your reason. I also liked watching Bianca pretend she was not angry. Mila's eyes narrowed. She is always angry. Then she needs hobbies. Talia leaned in. I volunteered to help spend her money. No one laughed because Bianca walked into the hall at that exact moment. The noise dipped. Bianca did not look at Talia. She did not look at Sasha. She looked at Mila first, then at me. The finance simulation opens at noon, Bianca said. I asked the department to put the ranking board on the main screen. Mila's head snapped toward her. You did what? Bianca's voice stayed smooth. If everyone wants a story, I prefer one with measurable humiliation. There it was, her tactic. Make the board public. Make the risk public. If I failed, the campus shark became a loud joke with an Ellery witness. If I won, she could claim she had forced me to prove myself. Bianca thought she was building a cage. She had built a stage. Mila stepped closer to me. Not soft, competitive. Fine, Mila said. Then I am entering too, Talia said. Of course you are. Mila ignored her. If I rank above you, you stop using every woman on this campus as free advertising. I smiled. That rule needs work. If I win, Mila said clearly, you do not date anyone on campus this year. The hallway reacted. Talia's mouth opened. Sasha whispered, Mila. Bianca went very still. Mila had just made the competition romantic in public, which meant she had admitted there was something to control. I said, and if I win? Mila lifted her chin. Name it. The old Nolan would have asked for a date. That would have been small. This Mila did not fear dates. She feared loss of control. One, unconditional forgiveness, I said. For a future offense. Mine to claim, yours to grant. The hallway loved that. Talia actually clapped once before catching herself. Sasha looked horrified and fascinated at the same time. Bianca laughed under her breath. That is disgusting. It is also fair, I said. She wants to ban me from campus romance. I want one apology coupon. Mila stared at me like she could already feel the future trouble. No physical harm, she said. Agreed. No public crime. Generous boundary. No humiliating Sasha. Sasha blinked. Me? Mila did not look at her. She has done nothing. That line changed Sasha's face. See, reactions matter when they move loyalty. Sasha had just been protected by Mila in front of everyone. The soft friend now had a reason to stay near the proud class rep even after the cafeteria disaster. I nodded. Accepted. Mila held out her hand. I shook it. Bianca watched our hands like she wanted to buy the air between them and burn it. At noon, the ranking board went live on the main screen outside the department office. No ceremony, no long explanation, just names, mock capital, daily return, rank, and a crowd pretending they had only stopped to check the weather. I entered late enough to annoy people and early enough to place the first move before the board locked. The cashback system did not hand me winning trades like candy. It had never been that generous. What it gave me was sharper pattern sense, old life market memory, and enough confidence to avoid the stupid mistakes students make when they want applause by lunch. I bought boring strength where the room expected fireworks. Mila bought clean, disciplined positions. Bianca watched from the side, arms crossed, waiting for the pressure to make me overplay. Trevor appeared behind her with two boys and a face that said he had come to witness my funeral. Careful, I said without turning. Ranking boards do not have lobbies. One of the boys laughed. Trevor left again. Small reward, still sweet. The first update hit at 1. Mila ranked 3rd. I ranked 9th. Talia made a pained noise. Nolan, please tell me 9th is part of your villain plan. It is a public board, I said. Villains need witnesses. Mila looked relieved for exactly 2 seconds. Then the second update hit. I moved to 2nd. The crowd tightened around the screen. Bianca stopped leaning against the wall. Mila's eyes narrowed at the positions. She understood enough to know I had not gotten lucky. I had waited for other students to chase one noisy jump, then moved into the safer strength they abandoned. No lecture needed. The board explained me better than I could. At 3, the final update for the day posted. Rank 1, Nolan Reed. Rank 2, Mila Vance. The hallway erupted, not with generic shock, with consequences. A professor I barely knew pointed at the screen and said, that is disciplined. Who is advising him? Talia grabbed Sasha's arm. He is expensive again. Sasha smiled despite herself. Mila stood very still, staring at the two names. Mine above hers, her bed under my hand. Bianca looked at the board, then at the crowd, then at me. She had tried to inflate the pressure until I cracked. Instead, she had advertised the win. I leaned toward her and said, thank you for the screen. Her eyes flashed. Do not thank me. Then invoice me. You could not afford it. Your father thinks differently. That landed. Her mouth shut. The professor approached me before Bianca could answer. Mr. Reed, the department may want you to speak about your approach later this week. I charge for speeches, I said. He blinked. Talia laughed. Sasha hid her smile. Mila looked like she wanted to kick me and take notes. The professor decided I was joking because that was safer for him. The ranking board refreshed once more with a tiny green arrow beside my name. Nothing dramatic, no fireworks, just a number moving higher than everyone expected. That little arrow did more damage than applause. Applause can be dismissed as hype. A board makes jealous people stare at the same answer until it feels official. Trevor came back just in time to see it. His face tried to become bored and failed. Mock money, he said. Congratulations on being rich in pretend. I looked at him. Careful, you already lost pretend property. The hallway laughed again. Trevor's mouth shut so hard I heard his teeth click. Mila did not laugh. She was still staring at the rank. That made the win cleaner. She was not a fool, and she was not pretending the board meant nothing just because she had lost. Her pride hated the result. Her brain respected it. That combination was going to cost both of us later. My phone buzzed with Arthur Ellery's name. I had given him my number at the estate because useful doors should open both ways. His message was short. Starter account. Small by our standards. Manage it for 30 days. Bianca will coordinate. Do not bore me. The cashback system flashed at the edge of my vision. External capital access detected. Opportunity chain upgraded. I read the message twice because I wanted to enjoy the shape of it. Blaine Carver's fist had bought my first body. Trevor Baines's mouth had bought my first campus face. Slap. Talia's sabotage had dragged Bianca into the room. Bianca's public trap had put my name on the board. Now Arthur Ellery had handed me a starter account because his daughter had tried to make me smaller. Revenge became business. Mila walked up to me while the crowd was still staring at the screen. "You won," she said. "You noticed. Won forgiveness," she said. "No expiration? Do you want to negotiate after losing?" Her pride fought her common sense and lost by a narrow margin. "I will honor it," she said. I leaned closer, just enough for only her to hear. "Good. Start worrying now. It will make you sharper." Her face changed. Not fear. Anticipation, which proud people hate more because it feels like consent from the part of them they cannot discipline. Before she could answer, Bianca stepped between us. "Move," Mila said. Bianca ignored her and held up her phone. Arthur's message was there too, forwarded to her. "My father gave you an account," Bianca said. The hallway quieted again because rich family business spoken in public turned students into furniture. I said, "He gave me a test." "No," Bianca said. "He gave you access," Talia whispered. "That sounds better." Bianca's eyes stayed on mine. "If my family is paying you, then you can start acting like mine." Bianca Ellery looked at me in front of the ranking board and said, "If my family is paying you, then you can start acting like mine." The hallway went quiet for the wrong reason. People did not hear a business comment. They heard a rich girl put a leash on a boy in public. Talia Burke's eyes lit up like she had smelled a luxury scandal. Sasha Wynn looked at me first, then at Mila Vance, because Sasha still believed some disasters could be softened if people noticed them early. Mila noticed. Her face went colder than the screen behind us. I looked at Bianca's phone, then at Bianca. "Your father gave me a 30-day test." "My father gave you access," Bianca said. "And you think access makes me property?" Bianca lifted her chin. "I think access comes with behavior." There was the opening, not the account, not Arthur Ellery's money. Bianca's mistake was thinking she could make ownership sound like etiquette. I slipped my phone into my pocket and asked, "What behavior?" Bianca's eyes narrowed. Good. If she stayed vague, she controlled the mood. If she said it out loud, she paid for the sentence. She said, "Do not play stupid." "Too late," I said. "You made a public offer. I want public terms." Talia whispered. "Oh, I love terrible contracts," Mila said. Talia shut her mouth, but her smile stayed alive. Bianca stepped closer. "Fine. You keep the Ellery account by not embarrassing my family? You stop letting Mila use you whenever she needs a shield. You stop collecting girls like they are campus coupons." Sasha made a small sound. "Bianca!" Bianca did not look at her. Her eyes stayed on mine. "And when I need you to look wanted, you stand beside me and make it believable." There it was. The fake boyfriend demand did not arrive wearing a pretty dress. It came wearing a black card and family money. Mila's hand tightened around her binder. I asked Bianca, "So you want a boyfriend on command?" "Fake boyfriend," Bianca said. "Do not flatter yourself. Fake is usually cheaper. Not with my family." The students near the board leaned in without moving. A campus crowd finds blood like that. Nobody wanted to be rude. Everyone wanted the next line. Bianca pulled a sleek black card from her phone case and held it between two fingers. "This opens doors you have not even seen yet," she said. "You can stop acting like you got here alone." I looked at the card. Then I looked at her mouth. Bianca saw where I was looking and froze half a second too late. I said, "Do you want me to prove the fake boyfriend act right here?" Her face changed. The card had been a weapon when she held it. Now it looked like a receipt. Mila took one step forward. "Nolan." I did not look away from Bianca. She made the offer. Bianca laughed once, sharp and unbelieving. "You would not dare. Say yes," I told her, "or I keep standing here." That mattered. I was shameless. I was not stupid. Bianca could threaten with money, reputation, and family pressure. She could dare me in front of half the department. But if she wanted the scene, she had to choose the scene. Her eyes flicked to the crowd. She understood the trap. If she said no, she admitted her fake boyfriend threat was performance. If she said yes, she had to survive the performance. Bianca lowered the card. "Yes, Nolan," she said, slow enough for everyone to hear. "Prove it." Mila's face went still. Talia stopped smiling. I stepped in before Bianca could decide she had been brave enough. The kiss was brief, clean, public, long enough for her perfume to hit my throat and for every phone in the hallway to become a weapon. Then I stepped back first. Bianca did not expect that part. She had wanted to make me act like hers. I made the whole hallway watch her stand there, lips parted, with her black card still in her hand, and no idea what to do with it. A phone camera clicked, then another. The ranking board behind us still showed my name above Mila's, but nobody was looking at the board anymore. Bianca touched her mouth. "That tiny movement killed her," Talia whispered. "Oh, that was not fake enough. Sasha looked like she wanted to drag everyone into separate rooms and make us drink water." Mila closed the distance between us with the kind of calm that meant someone was about to lose skin. "What shade is that?" Mila asked Bianca. Bianca blinked. "Excuse me?" Mila pointed at my mouth without looking at me. "Your lip gloss." The hallway turned viciously alive. Bianca's eyes cut to my lips. So did Talia's. So did half the department. Bianca wiped at her own mouth, which was the worst thing she could have done. The gesture admitted there was proof. Mila smiled. It was not a happy smile. It was the smile of a proud woman finding a knife on the floor and deciding God had left it there for her. If your family wants a receipt, Mila said, there it is. Bianca's face heated. Do not start with me. I did not start this, Mila said. You put payment terms on a person. Bianca stepped toward her. And you put a collar rumor on my name. The crowd loved that too much, Sasha said. Can we not do this in the hallway? No, Talia said under her breath. This is historically important. Mila looked at me then. Not soft, never soft. She looked like she wanted to punish me for being useful to another woman and punish herself for caring that I was useful. Is this theater? Mila asked me. Bianca bought the stage. And you sell scenes now? Only when the audience is already seated. That got a laugh from the crowd. It also made Mila's eyes sharpen. She stepped closer, close enough that Bianca's perfume and Mila's clean paper scent collided between us. Choose your prop, class rep, I said. Mila's gaze dropped to my cheek. I smiled. Safe enough. That made her angrier, which made the next second inevitable. Mila put one hand against my shoulder, rose on her toes, and kissed my cheek, not my mouth. That would have been too simple. She chose the cheek because it was public, possessive, deniable, and cruel to Bianca all at once. The hallway made a sound that was not a gasp. It was calculation. One kiss could be fake. Two different women marking the same man in front of the finance board became a campus economy. Bianca stared at the place Mila's mouth had touched me. Mila stepped back like nothing had happened. Now you have symmetry, she said. Talia actually clutched Sasha's sleeve. I need a chair, Sasha whispered. You are standing. Emotionally. Bianca's smile returned, but it had lost its clean edge. You think a cheek kiss balances my family account? No, Mila said. I think it proves Nolan is not your receipt. That line moved Sasha. I saw it in her face. Sasha did not suddenly become a fighter, but she stopped looking at Mila like the proud class rep was only a dangerous problem. For the second time in 2 sections, Mila had protected someone else's dignity while pretending she was only defending her own pride. Bianca saw Sasha's reaction too. That irritated her more than the kiss. Careful, Mila, Bianca said. If you keep claiming things in public, people may ask what you do in private. Mila's eyes flicked to me. Just once. Too fast for most people. Not too fast for me. Ms. Voltage had just entered the hallway without anyone saying the name. The first photo hit the campus thread before the professor who had praised me could finish escaping the scene. Someone posted Bianca's kiss. Someone else posted Mila's cheek kiss. A third person captioned it, Rank 1 apparently comes with benefits. Talia read it aloud and said, That is disgusting. Also, effective. Bianca snapped. Do you ever stop talking? When nobody interesting is ruining their life, Talia said. Sasha tugged her arm. Talia, fine, I will observe silently. She did not. 20 minutes later, Bianca tried to take the steering wheel back. She sent one message. Lunch. Courtyard table. Now. I showed Talia because I knew she would react loudly enough to become a weather report. She read it, clutched her chest, and said, He has been summoned by money. Sasha frowned. You do not have to go. I know, I said. That was why I went. The courtyard tables were full by then. Bianca had chosen the center one, of course. Rich girls do not accidentally sit where people can see them. She had a coffee she had not touched, her black card on the table, and an empty chair across from her like a trap with good posture. Mila saw the table from the walkway. She did not come over. She slowed just enough to prove she had seen it. Bianca saw that too, and her smile returned. Sit, Bianca said when I reached her. Is this still fake dating, or did we move into obedience training? Her eyes flashed. Sit down, Nolan. I sat beside her instead of across from her. That ruined the picture she had prepared. The empty chair across from Bianca made her look like she had been waiting. Sitting beside her made it look like I had arrived with permission to edit the scene. Talia appeared 3 seconds later with Sasha because shame was not one of Talia's hobbies. Can we sit? Talia asked. Bianca said, no. I said, yes. The two answers hit the table together. Talia's eyes shone. I adore group projects. Bianca turned to me slowly. A fake boyfriend would support me. A good fake girlfriend would know when the audience needs supporting cast. Do not call me that. You started the genre. Sasha sat carefully, like the chair might file a complaint. Talia sat like she had personally been invited by scandal. Bianca pushed the untouched coffee toward me. Drink, she said. I looked at the cup. You do not know my order. Her mouth tightened. Sasha, traitor to peace and angel of detail, said quietly. Black coffee, no sugar. Bianca's eyes went to Sasha. Sasha immediately looked like she regretted having a memory. Mila, who had absolutely not come over, arrived at the end of the table with her binder against her chest. He also hates decaf, Mila said. Bianca looked at her. Were you invited? Mila looked at the empty chair across from Bianca. Apparently nobody was. The table next to us went quiet. Useful. Bianca picked up the black card, stood, and walked to the counter without another word. Talia leaned toward me. She is buying you coffee to prove she owns you? No, I said. She is buying coffee because she forgot ownership requires customer research. Sasha covered her mouth. Mila looked away, but not fast enough to hide the smile she strangled. Bianca returned with black coffee, no sugar. She placed it in front of me like a challenge. I took one sip. Better, I said. That single word hit her harder than a thank you. The surrounding tables read the whole scene. Bianca had summoned me, I had moved her chair arrangement, Talia and Sasha had invaded, Mila had corrected the order, and Bianca had still paid. It was petty. It was also status. Bianca sat down beside me this time. Not across. The third kiss of the day landed without anyone touching anyone. Mila saw the seat choice and went still. Talia whispered, "Oh, she adapted." I raised the coffee slightly toward Bianca. "Learning already," I said. Bianca's smile was beautiful and murderous. "Keep talking. I will learn where to bury you." "American campus," I said. "Use a committee. They hide everything slower." Sasha made a sound of distress. Talia laughed. Mila said, "You are both exhausting." But Mila did not leave. That was why the lunch scene mattered. Bianca had tried to make the public kiss look like her control returning. Instead, everyone watched her buy the right coffee only after two other girls knew me better. Money had purchased the cup. Attention had purchased the wound. By late afternoon, the photo had moved faster than the ranking board. The finance win still mattered, but now it had a face, 2 lipstick marks, and an Ellery heiress trying to pretend she had not been the one who started the fire. The reward was visible. Bianca had wanted obedience. She got a public claim she could not fully control. Mila had wanted deniability. She got caught competing with a rich girl over the boys she kept pretending to supervise. And I got exactly what the system loved most, status bought with someone else's pride. The cashback system flickered once while I walked out of the department. Public romantic pressure detected. Social value chain upgraded. I almost laughed. Even the system had taste. The problem with public chaos is that it invites old ghosts to visit. I was near the courtyard when someone called my name. "Nolan?" I turned. Iris Calloway stood near the campus steps with a weekend bag over one shoulder. For half a second, the whole loud, ugly, lipstick-covered day bent around that one voice. Iris looked different from the train because I was different from the train. She had the same composed face, the same clean warmth, the same habit of looking directly at a person instead of scanning for the highest status exit. In my first life, Iris had been the kind of girl I watched from the edge of rooms while better-looking men practiced confidence around her. In this life, she had seen me bleed on a train before she saw me win anything. That made her dangerous in a quieter way. She did not need the ranking board to believe I had weight. She had seen Blaine Carver's money arrive because he underestimated me. People like Bianca bought public proof. Iris carried private proof. Macy Kepler stood beside her with a smaller bag and the expression of someone who had arrived at a campus visit and walked straight into a live drama. "Iris," I said. Her eyes moved over me. Not in the hungry way Talia looked. Not in the combative way Mila looked. Iris looked like she was checking whether the injured boy from the train had really become the person in the photos. "You look better," she said. I had expensive motivation. Macy looked from Iris to me. "This is the train guy?" "This is Nolan," Iris said. That correction landed softer than a kiss and somehow annoyed 3 women more. Talia appeared beside Sasha like she had teleported toward gossip. Bianca followed from the department doors, still carrying the black card like a grudge. Mila came last. Of course she did. Proud women never enter a battlefield first if they can make everyone notice the entrance. Iris smiled at Sasha because Sasha looked safe. "Hi, sorry." Macy's brother Micah said we could drop our bags near his dorm, but he is late. Sasha recovered first. "I can text him. He is probably in class." Macy's eyes moved to the faint mark on my cheek. "Did we interrupt something?" "A group project," I said. Bianca gave me a look. "Do not call me a group project," Talia said. "Technically, there are deliverables." Mila's gaze stayed on Iris. It was not hatred. Mila did not know Iris enough to hate her. It was worse. Measurement. Iris was the girl from the beginning, the one who had seen me bleeding before campus learned to call me dangerous. That kind of woman is hard to dismiss because she owns a version of you nobody else can buy. Mila heard that without anyone explaining it. "So you are Iris Calloway," Mila said. Iris turned to her. "Yes, the train story makes more sense now." Sasha's face tightened. "Mila." Iris stayed polite. "What story?" Mila's mouth opened. I knew that look. She was about to use elegance as a weapon. She would not insult Iris crudely. Mila was too skilled for that. She would say something clean enough to deny and sharp enough to bleed, so I stopped her. "Careful," I said. Mila's eyes cut to me. I said, "Your queen once wrote, 'Never cut the girl who saw the door, cut the man who opened it.'" The courtyard lost its noise around Mila. Not everyone understood the line. That made it better. Bianca saw Mila freeze. Talia saw it. Sasha saw it. Iris only looked confused, which kept her clean of the secret. Mila's voice dropped. "Where did you hear that? You should guard your drafts better." Her face did not crack. Her hand did. The binder edge bent under her fingers. The secret author pressure was working. Not exposure. Not yet. Exposure was cheap if it landed before fear had time to earn interest. Bianca looked between us. "What does that mean?" "It means," I said, Mila was about to make a mistake in front of a guest. Iris looked at Mila and then at me. "I did not mean to cause trouble." "You did not," Sasha said quickly. Talia added, "Trouble was already enrolled full-time." Macy leaned toward Iris and whispered loudly enough for half of us to hear, "Do you still want to stay here this weekend?" Iris smiled, but her eyes stayed on me. "Now I am curious." That line moved the board again. Macy groaned. "That means yes." Iris finally looked away from me and gave Macy a calm little smile. "It means Micah is late and I am not carrying this bag around campus forever. I can take it," I said. Bianca's eyes cut to my hand before Iris could answer. Mila's eyes did the same. Talia whispered, "Oh, the bag has become political." Sasha looked like she wanted to apologize to the bag. Iris handed it to me anyway, not flirtatious, worse, natural. Bianca heard first crush warmth. Mila heard challenge. Talia heard opportunity. Sasha heard a headache. I heard the past knocking politely on a door the present had already kicked open. By sunset, the campus thread had 3 active arguments, whether Bianca and I were fake dating, whether Mila had publicly claimed me, and whether Iris Calloway was the original reason Blaine Carver had paid so much money after the train incident. None of those arguments were fully correct. All of them made me more expensive. Bianca sent one message. "Do not enjoy this too much," I answered. "Then charge me for it." She did not reply. Mila did, not from the class group, not from her normal number. The private line buzzed while I stood outside the dorm. Miss Voltage wrote one sentence. "Sweet. Tonight, no audience." Across the courtyard, Mila Vance slid her phone into her bag without looking at me. Bianca's black card had started the day as a leash. By night, it had paid for a door Mila was angry enough to open herself. Mila Vance sent the word sweet like it was a threat. She should have known better. Threats are cheaper than rooms. I did not answer her message right away. I opened the cashback system and selected the black key. The prompt was simple: Marwood Grand Hotel, Beacon Suite, available tonight. The system did not explain the discount, the status tier, or the hotel rules. Good. I did not need a tutorial. I needed a door that made pride expensive to walk through. I booked the suite, watched the receipt hit my phone, and felt the points credit at the edge of my vision. Black key access confirmed. Social territory potential detected. The system's polite translation: I had just rented a battlefield with better towels. I sent Mila the address. Then I sent a second message. "Do not come if you want an apology." She read it. I sent a third. "Do not come if you want an audience." She read that too. For almost 5 minutes, she gave me nothing. Then Ms. Voltage replied, "Stop warning me like I am fragile." I smiled at the phone. Mila's problem was simple. She thought every warning was an insult because she spent her whole life pretending nothing could reach her. The Marwood Grand Hotel did not look like a place for broke college boys with old subway trauma. The lobby was all quiet light, dark stone, polished shoes, and staff trained not to look surprised at money. In my old life, I had walked past hotels like that, with takeout bags and a bank balance that made revolving doors feel judgmental. This time, the front desk saw the black key marker on the booking and stopped treating my age like an error. No lecture, no long check-in. Just a sweet key, a better elevator, and the kind of silence that tells you money has already spoken. The Beacon Suite sat high enough over Harbor City that the campus looked like a toy problem from the windows. Useful. People make smaller decisions in small rooms. I wanted Mila to walk into a room that made denial look underdressed. There was a skyline window, a dining table set for 2, a private bar I ignored because drunk consent is cheap writing, and a bedroom door I left open on purpose. Not as invitation. As pressure. If Mila wanted to accuse me of hiding the real meaning of the night, she would not get the easy angle. I ordered coffee, fruit, and food we could actually eat without turning the scene into a bad romance poster. The hotel sent everything under my name. Mr. Reed on the tray card. Mr. Reed on the suite phone. Mr. Reed on the small welcome screen beside the door. In college, most people still had their parents' names floating behind them like a credit check. The Beacon Suite made my own name look like it had weight, not romance, ammunition. Then I waited. Waiting is usually dead time. This was not. Every minute asked the same clear question: would Mila come as the proud class rep, as Miss Voltage, or as the girl who had kissed my cheek because Bianca touched my mouth first? At 9:18, the suite doorbell rang. I opened the door. Mila stood there in a dark coat with her hair pinned back too neatly. First sign she was nervous. Mila only became perfect when she was trying to hide a crack. She looked past me into the suite. For 1 second, her face forgot to be bored. The skyline did the work for me. Then she recovered and stepped inside. Subtle, Mila said. I considered a broom closet, I said. But you asked for no audience, not no standards. She turned on me. Do not joke. Then do not arrive like a verdict. Mila removed her coat slowly and laid it over the back of a chair. No rush, no shaking hands, but her eyes kept moving. Window, table, key card, my phone on the counter, the open bedroom door, the second coffee cup. Then she saw the welcome screen. Mr. Reed. Her mouth tightened. You enjoy seeing your name on expensive things, she said. I spent years seeing my name on late notices. That stopped her long enough to matter. I did not soften it. I did not ask for pity. I just let the sentence sit there beside the skyline. Mila looked away first. Then she looked back at the screen. So this is revenge? Partly. What is the other part? Practice. She understood enough not to ask for what. She was mapping exits and weapons at the same time. That was why I liked fighting her. Mila did not enter rooms. She audited them. You knew, she said. I leaned against the table. That is a large sentence. The line in the courtyard. It was a good line. It was mine. Then protected better. Her eyes flashed. How long? Long enough to know Ms. Voltage writes queens who pretend they hate chains until someone asks who holds the key. The name landed between us. Mila's fingers curled once against the chair. She did not deny it. That mattered. Not because I needed confession, I already had enough. It mattered because Mila chose not to waste the night on a lie that would make both of us smaller. If you tell anyone, she said, I will ruin you. You would try. I would succeed. Maybe, I said, but then everyone would know you were scared enough to swing. She hated that because it was true. Exposure was not my best weapon, restraint was. A secret is worth more when the owner knows you could sell it and still decide not to. Mila walked to the window. Harbor City burned below us. All traffic, water, and lights that belonged to people who thought they were important from far away. Bianca kissed you, she said. She gave permission first. That is not what I asked. It is the answer that matters. Mila's reflection looked at me in the glass. Did you enjoy it? Yes. That turned her around. She expected mockery. She expected evasion. She did not expect the clean answer. I said, Bianca tried to buy obedience. I enjoyed making her pay in public. And me? You tried to protect your pride and punish hers at the same time. Did you enjoy that? More. Her face colored, barely. With Mila, barely was a confession wearing armor. She walked back to the table and picked up the sweet key. Is this another prop? She asked. Everything expensive is a prop until it changes what people do. And what am I supposed to do? You tell me. You sent the message. Mila put the key down. Then she said the first honest rule of the night. No games unless both of us say yes. I nodded once. Agreed. No using the bet. I was not going to spend forgiveness on a door you opened yourself. Her eyes sharpened. No pretending I came here because Bianca touched you. You came here because Bianca touched me. Iris saw me. Talia talked too much, and I quoted a line you wrote when you thought nobody real could read you. Mila stared at me. I added, but you chose the elevator. That one got through. Her anger did not disappear. It changed shape. Mila's pride liked rules because rules let her call desire discipline. So I gave her rule back to her, clean and simple. If you say stop, I said, the room stops before the sentence finishes. She looked at the bedroom door, then back at me. And if you say stop, she asked, same rule. Good. The word came out too soft, she noticed. Of course she noticed. Mila stepped closer and touched the collar of my shirt with 2 fingers, the same way someone might test whether a blade was sharp. You are enjoying making me say everything first, she said. Yes. You are a terrible person. You came upstairs. Her mouth almost moved. Almost. Then she said, I want the war. There was the payoff. Not love, not surrender. Mila Vance did not become gentle in the Beacon Suite. She became dangerous in a room that cost more than my old monthly salary. She chose the war while looking straight at me. I said, then say yes. Mila's fingers tightened on my collar. Yes, she said. I said it back. After that, the city kept its mouth shut. There are moments a narrator can ruin by trying to prove he was there. This was one of them. The only detail that matters is that every door stayed open, every yes stayed spoken. And when Mila finally stopped pretending she had only come to win an argument, she looked more furious about wanting me than she had ever looked about hating me. The next morning she sat at the far end of the breakfast table in one of the hotel's white robes, tied like armor. Her hair was damp, her phone was face down. Her expression said she had personally declared war on the sun for rising too early. I poured coffee. She watched my hand. Do not look proud, Mila said. I am naturally gifted at being unbearable. That too. She took the coffee and drank it like it had offended her. For almost a minute, neither of us spoke. That silence was not soft, it was loaded. Finally, Mila set the cup down and said, This changes nothing. I looked at the robe. She followed my eyes and went red enough to make the coffee unnecessary. Do not, she said. I did not speak. Your face did. My face is honest. Your face is unemployed. I laughed. She hated that too, but less than she wanted to. Then her phone buzzed. She looked at it and the room changed back into consequences. The campus thread had found a new toy. Someone had posted a photo of me entering the Marwood Grand Hotel lobby the night before. No room, no Mila, just me, the black key marker visible on the hotel screen behind the desk, and enough context for gossip to start charging rent. The caption read, "Campus Shark upgraded from ranking board to penthouse?" Mila's face went still. "They do not know you were here," I said. "Do not comfort me." I was clarifying. Same insult. She picked up her phone and typed something. My private line flashed. "Ms. Voltage has blocked this channel." Then my normal phone buzzed with one message from Mila. "War means distance, do not chase." She stood before I could answer. "Mila?" She looked at me from the doorway. For 1 second, the robe, the skyline, the expensive coffee, and every sharp line between us disappeared, and I saw the girl who had put her secret work online because it was safer than wanting anything in public. Then she put the armor back on. "You wanted a war," she said. "Do not complain when I use strategy." She left. The suite door closed softly. Expensive places love making damage sound elegant. I gave myself one breath. One. Then the next pressure arrived. Bianca called before I reached campus. I let it ring twice because I was petty and because rich girls need exercise. When I answered, she did not say hello. "Where were you last night?" Bianca asked. "In a room. Do not be cute. Then ask a less adorable question." Her voice went colder. "People are saying you were at the Marwood. People are observant. With who? That is not part of the fake boyfriend package you tried to purchase." Silence. Then Bianca said, "So there is a package. You named it." She hung up. Not good. Bianca did not hang up because she was done. Bianca hung up when she wanted to arrive with better lighting. At Bayside, Talia found me before class and literally smelled the sleeve of my jacket. I stared at her. She stared back with no shame. "Hotel soap," Talia said. Sasha covered her face. "Talia, please stop smelling people. This is investigative friendship. It is not friendship." "It could be if he answers." Mila passed us without looking. It was the loudest thing she had done all morning. Talia saw it, then looked at me, then at Mila's perfectly blank face. "Oh," Talia said. Sasha's eyes widened. "No, I did not say anything. Your face did. My face is gifted." I almost smiled. Mila heard that and still did not turn around. Good. If she had turned, the night would have looked like a weakness. By not turning, she made everyone wonder harder. Bianca arrived 10 minutes later. She wore sunglasses indoors. That was either a fashion choice or a murder warning. With Bianca, the categories overlapped. She walked straight to me, stopped close enough for the room to notice, and placed a coffee cup from the Marwood Grand Hotel on my desk. The sleeve had the hotel crest. No room number, no proof, just enough status object to make the room turn. "You forgot breakfast," Bianca said. Talia whispered, "I am going to pass away." Sasha whispered back, "Please do it quietly." Mila finally looked. Bianca smiled at her. That smile said she knew nothing and intended to weaponize the shape of what she did not know. I took the coffee. "Thank you," I said. "Did you charge it to our fake relationship account?" Bianca's smile twitched. Mila's pen snapped against the page. Small sound, useful sound. The class heard it. Bianca heard it. I heard the next problem forming behind us. Near the back of the room, Tristan Clay leaned against the wall with 2 seniors I did not know by name and did not need to. He was not in our class. He had no reason to be there except Bianca. Tristan looked at the Marwood cup, then at the photo on his phone, then at me. His smile had no curiosity in it, only insult. Knox Weller stood beside him. Knox did not smile at all. He had the shoulders of someone who believed a room was honest only after somebody hit the floor. I had seen that type before. Blaine had been loud with it. Knox was quieter, which meant worse. Bianca noticed my eyes move. She turned. Tristan lifted his phone slightly, showing the hotel photo like it was a joke he owned. "Nice room, Reed," Tristan called. The professor was not there yet. The class went alert. Mila did not move. Bianca's expression sharpened. "Tristan!" He ignored her. "Just wondering. Some guys use rankings to get internships. Some use them to play rich." I leaned back. "You came all the way here to ask about my sleepover budget?" The class laughed. "Not hard. Enough." Tristan's smile thinned. Knox looked at me like he was measuring a ring. Bianca said, "Leave." Tristan's eyes stayed on me. "Careful who you borrow status from. Careful who you borrow courage from," I said. Standing near Knox does not make you dangerous. That moved Knox, only one step. But the floor felt it. The professor entered, saw the seniors, and paused. Bianca looked genuinely angry now, not jealous. Angry that her public game had invited men who thought her attention was community property. Tristan held up both hands and backed out. Knox went last. He looked at me once before leaving. No threat spoken, no need. That was the danger with men like Knox. They did not always bark before they bit. After class, Bianca cornered me near the stairwell. "Do not provoke Knox," she said. "He came to my class because the photos made you look like you were using my circle. Your circle sounds fragile." My circle is bored, rich, and male. Fragile still breaks things. That was useful. Bianca had said enough for me to know this was not just gossip. The photo and fake relationship had touched senior pride. Mila passed behind Bianca and heard the last line. She did not stop, but her message came 30 seconds later from her normal number. Do not be stupid with him. I answered. Which him? She replied. Do not make me list men who need helmets. Then she blocked me again. I respected the consistency. By evening, the Marwood photo had become a campus map. People did not know what had happened in the Beacon Suite, so they invented better versions. Bianca was named in half of them. Mila was named in the other half. Iris appeared in a few because the internet loves making innocent people pay rent in scandals. I went back to my dorm after sunset because hiding in luxury too early would make the suite look like an escape. Brody Kane waited near the vending machines on my floor. Brody had the relaxed posture of a man who had seen enough stupid violence to appreciate it from a distance. Read, he said. If this is about the hotel photo, take a number. It is about Knox Weller. That stopped me. Brody stepped closer and kept his voice low enough that the passing students heard nothing useful. Knox and Tristan were asking who had access to your room. Popular question. They were not asking like fans. I looked down the hall toward my door. Brody followed my eyes. One of their friends asked about a room key, he said. I thought you should know before you sleep. There it was. Bianca's public claim had turned into male insult. Mila's private war had turned into campus rumor. The Beacon Suite had given me territory. Now the dorm wanted to remind me where I still looked reachable. I thanked Brody. He studied my face. You going to report it? I looked at my door. Then I smiled. No, I said. I am going to make them knock. Brody Kane's warning did not make me call campus security. That would have been clean. I did not need clean. I needed memorable. Knox Weller and Tristan Clay were asking about my room key because they thought the dorm was the one place where my money, my ranking board, Bianca's fake claim, and the Beacon Suite could not protect me. They were half right. The dorm could not protect me, so I made the dorm protect the story. I did not explain the plan to Brody. I did not message Mila. I did not warn Bianca. If too many people know a trap, it stops being a trap and becomes a committee. I went into my room and looked at the bed Rocco Flynn had once tried to claim before the hammer educated him. The old room was narrow. Cheap desk, bad lamp, thin closet, a window that showed another building close enough to make poverty feel neighborly. Perfect. Rich boys hate ugly rooms because ugly rooms do not flatter their fantasy. I moved fast and kept the setup simple. A black sheet, 2 training rings, a chair, the old hammer under my hand. Enough darkness to make imagination do the heavy lifting. No instructions, no clever mechanism. The scare was not engineering, it was psychology with bad lighting. Men who come to jump one person in the dark already brought the fear with them. I only had to give it a shape. At 12:11, the hallway went quiet in the way dorm hallways only go quiet when people are pretending not to hear something. At 12:16, my phone buzzed. Brody wrote, 2 came up the back stairs. Knox is not first. Smart. Knox Weller had the kind of pride that liked results but disliked fingerprints. He wanted me scared, maybe bruised, maybe begging. He did not need to be the first body through the door if Tristan and the others could soften the room. At 12:18, the handle moved. I was already in the dark. The door opened an inch, then wider. Tristan Clay whispered, Reed? He tried to sound amused. His voice came out thin. Behind him, one senior held the phone light low. Another carried a bat against his leg like he had watched too many movies and understood none of them. They stepped in expecting a target. The phone light lifted. It hit the sheet. For one full second, nobody breathed. The shape hung in the middle of the room, pale where the sheet caught the light, limp enough to make the brain finish the picture before courage could object. The senior with the bat dropped it. It hit the floor so loudly the hallway answered. Tristan made a sound. I will remember fondly until I die a second time. No, he choked. No, no, no. The phone light shook. The second senior backed into the desk, knocked over a cup, and slipped on his own panic. Then I stepped out from the side shadow with the hammer in my hand. Boo, I said. The senior on the floor screamed. Not shouted. Screamed. Dorm doors opened down the hall. One student yelled, What happened? Another yelled, Is that Tristan? Tristan turned toward the door so fast he hit his shoulder against the frame. The senior with the phone tried to run, forgot the dropped bat, stepped on it, and nearly folded himself in half. The hallway light snapped on. Now the scene had witnesses. Tristan Clay, upperclassman, Bianca Circle parasite, hallway threat specialist, stood in my doorway with his face drained white and his hand pressed against his chest like he had just met every ghost in his family. I held the hammer loosely. You dropped something, I said. Nobody moved, so I pointed at the bat. Pick it up. The senior closest to it looked at me, then at the open doors, then at Tristan. Tristan whispered, Pick it up. That was the first useful thing he had said all night. The senior picked it up with 2 fingers like the bat had become evidence of his own stupidity. I said, "Now put it on my desk." He did. Brody appeared at the far end of the hallway, hands in his hoodie pockets, watching with the calm interest of a man deciding whether his story was worth repeating. Knox stood behind him near the stairwell. Not close, not inside the room. He had let the others open the door. That was important. Knox was not afraid yet. He was offended. The difference would matter later. Tristan finally found his voice. "You are sick. You came into my room after midnight with a bat," I said. "Do not make me sound like the weird one." The hallway laughed. That laugh hurt him more than the scare. Fear can be hidden after a while. Laughter sticks to your clothes. Tristan's face twisted. "You think this is funny? I think it is cleaner than calling your parents." He went still. Rich students hate that sentence because it reminds them every secret has a family invoice. I stepped closer. "You broke my cup," I said. The senior who had slipped looked at the floor. Water spread under the desk with cheap coffee grounds in it. "Clean it," I said. He blinked. "What?" I lifted the hammer half an inch. He cleaned it. Rocco Flynn opened his door 3 rooms down, saw me holding the hammer again, and immediately decided his room had fascinating wallpaper. His door closed. That tiny click was not loud. It still paid. Rocco had been the first dorm bully to learn I was not a soft target anymore. Now a new batch of upperclassmen was receiving the updated curriculum in front of him. That was the second payoff, not the scream. The cleanup. Men who came to make me kneel ended up crouched on my floor with paper towels while half the dorm watched. Brody's mouth curved. Knox did not laugh. Good. Laughing men usually leave. Silent men come back with a plan. The senior with the bat placed it on my desk. He avoided looking at the hanging sheet. I pulled the sheet down and tossed it onto the chair. The room became ordinary again. That made the scare worse. Once people saw how cheap the trick was, they had to face the ugly part. The thing that had beaten them was not a ghost. It was their own expectation that I would be helpless. Tristan understood that. His mouth tightened. "This is not over," he said. "No," I said. "Now it is funny." The hallway laughed again. Tristan pushed past his friends and left. The 2 seniors followed him fast enough to look like retreat and slow enough to pretend it was choice. Knox stayed near the stairwell until the others passed him. Then he looked at me. I looked back. No words, no need. Brody waited until Knox disappeared down the stairs before walking over. "That was insane," Brody said. "Efficient. They might come back. Then they should practice screaming quietly." Brody glanced at the hammer, the sheet, the open doors, the students still peeking out, and the bat on my desk. "You want me to spread what happened?" he asked. "You were going to spread it anyway." "True." "Then spread the clean version," I said. "They came with a bat. They screamed first. They cleaned before they left." Brody nodded slowly. His respect shifted from amusement to utility. He was not my best friend, not yet, maybe not ever. But Brody understood one thing that mattered on campus. Reputation works better when someone else carries it for you. The dorm did not sleep after that. Neither did the campus thread. By 1 in the morning, there were blurry photos of Tristan's face, the bat on my desk, the wet floor, and one terrible angle of my neck where the sheet harness had left a red mark. The mark looked worse than it felt. Unfortunate. Also useful. Talia sent 3 messages. "Are you alive? If you are alive, this is incredibly rude to my stress levels. If you are dead, ignore the second message." Sasha sent one. "Please answer someone." Mila sent nothing from Miss Voltage because she had blocked that door herself. Then my normal phone buzzed. "If this is one of your jokes, answer before I decide I hate you permanently." No name needed. Mila's anger had perfect punctuation. I answered, "Tempting offer, but I am alive," she replied. "Unfortunately, I am relieved." Then she blocked me again. Consistency is a form of affection if you are damaged enough. At 1:09, Bianca called me 17 times. I answered on the 18th because I respected dedication. "Where are you?" she demanded. "Dorm." "Do not lie to me. I saw the photo." "Then why ask?" She inhaled sharply. "The red mark, Nolan. Relax. Do not say relax to me." There was something in her voice I had not heard before, not ownership, fear. It hit differently when Bianca stopped sounding expensive. "I am fine," I said. "Marwood, now." "You are ordering me?" "Yes." That sounded almost sincere. "If you make a joke when I get there," Bianca said, "I will throw something at you." She hung up. This time, I did not make her wait. I took the bat off my desk, handed it to Brody, and said, "Keep this ugly thing away from my room." Brody raised an eyebrow. "Souvenir? Reminder? For them or you?" "Yes." He laughed once and took it. I went to the Marwood Grand Hotel with the red mark still visible because hiding it would have made it look like shame. The Beacon Suite felt different after the dorm. Cleaner, higher, more useful. The dorm was where enemies thought they could reach me. The suite was where they had to imagine me. Bianca arrived 10 minutes after I did, hair loose, coat thrown over clothes that looked expensive enough to have an opinion. She came in without waiting for me to invite her. The first thing she did was grab my collar and pull it aside. Her fingers stopped near the red mark. For once, Bianca Ellery had no perfect lying ready. Then fear turned into anger, because anger was where she kept her balance. "What is wrong with you?" she said. "People keep asking that, like I am the one bringing bats indoors." "You staged a fake death scene. A fake hanging shape," I corrected. "Important distinction. Do not correct me while I am trying not to panic." That shut me up for half a second. Only half. Bianca saw it and hated that she had won even that much. She pushed my collar back into place. "You could have been hurt. They were cowards. Cowards still swing." That line had weight. Bianca knew rich cowards. She had grown up around boys who used family names as helmets and other people's bodies as test walls. I sat on the edge of the table. "You rushed over because you felt guilty." Her face hardened. "Do not flatter yourself. You thought your public fake boyfriend stunt helped paint a target." I said, "Do not flatter yourself." "And you thought if Nolan Reed got found hurt in a dorm after you turned him into campus gossip, your father would look at you like you had broken another expensive thing." Bianca slapped the table with her palm. "Not me. The table. Progress. Stop talking like you know my family," she said. "Then stop acting like your family is the only reason you are here." That hit. Her eyes flashed, but she did not deny it. There are moments when pushing harder breaks the scene. This was not one. This was a rich girl standing in a presidential suite at 2 in the morning because fear had dragged her out of bed faster than pride could dress itself. That kind of fear is expensive. I intended to invoice it. I picked up a folder from the table. Not documents, not a contract, just a blank hotel notepad with 3 lines I had written after the dorm. "Private study nights. Capital Circle. Controlled access." Bianca stared at it. "You cannot be serious. They came to my dorm because dorms are cheap. They would not have walked into this suite. You want to talk business right now? You came here because danger made the room honest. That is the worst pitch opening I have ever heard." Still listening. She was, so I continued. "Bayside is full of rich kids pretending they do not need somewhere private to meet, study, network, flirt, hide, and feel chosen. The Marwood is close enough to campus to become a status shortcut. The Beacon Suite is already a rumor. Your name makes it legitimate. My name makes it dangerous." Bianca looked at the skyline. She wanted to dismiss it. The problem was that she understood status too well. "You want to turn a hotel suite into a campus club," she said. "Clubs have committees. I hate committees. A private hub then, a room people pay attention to before they enter. And you need my money." "I need your impatience," I said. "Money is just how rich people confess it." She laughed despite herself. There she was, Bianca the rival, Bianca the sponsor, Bianca the girl who liked danger better when she could put her name on it. "My father gave you a starter account," she said. "Now you want my personal capital too? Your father's money makes me useful. Your money makes you independent." Her smile died. The real pitch was not profit. Freedom. Bianca had tried to own me because she hated being handled by Arthur's plans, Helena's readings, campus gossip, and rich boys who thought proximity to her was a future asset. If I made the suite ours, she was not just the girl whose father gave me access. She became the person who saw the territory first. Bianca sat slowly. "How much?" she asked. "2 million. She stared. "You are disgusting. You asked for a number. I expected something reasonable. Then invest in someone reasonable." Her eyes moved to my neck again. The fear had not left. It had changed jobs. Now it was holding the door open for ambition. "If I do this," Bianca said, "you do not get to call me jealous." "Fine. You do not get to call me scared. In public, Nolan. Fine. And this is not boyfriend money." "No," I said. "It is accomplice money." She looked at me for a long second. Then she picked up her phone. No dramatic bank tutorial, no password scene, no financial lecture. Just Bianca Ellery's thumb moving once, her jaw tight enough to cut glass, and my phone buzzing with a confirmation that made the cashback system flare bright in the edge of my vision. $2 million transfer received. External capital chain expanded. Black key territory upgraded. I read the number once, then again because I was not a saint. Bianca watched me enjoy it. "My father does not hear about this first," Bianca said. "First? Do not be cute. I am being accurate." She pointed at the phone. "This is my money." That was the point. If Arthur asks, this was a private campus project. If Arthur asks, you finally made an independent decision with a measurable upside. Bianca's mouth opened, then closed. That line did more than flatter her. It gave her a story she could survive telling later. Rich people love rebellion more when it comes with a business label. "You look happier about the money than about me being worried," she said. "The money is less confusing. You are impossible. You transferred $2 million to impossible." She leaned back and covered her face with one hand. For a second, she looked her age instead of her last name. Then she dropped the hand and pointed at me. "Accomplice," she said, "not girlfriend. You keep making categories, because you keep ruining them." Best compliment she had given me so far. I lifted the hotel coffee cup toward her. To ruin in categories. She did not toast, she did smile. Small, angry, real, that was enough. The suite had changed again. Earlier, it had been Mila's battlefield. Now, it was capital. Bianca's panic had become money. The ambush had become territory. Knox and Tristan had tried to make my dorm feel unsafe, and in doing so, they helped sell the room that would make me harder to reach. Good enemies pay rent like that. Morning came with 3 consequences. First, Tristan did not come to class. Second, Brody sent me a photo of the clean dorm floor with one line. Hallway says he screamed before the lights came on. Third, Knox Weller finally stopped letting other people knock. I was still in the Beacon suite when Brody's next message arrived. Knox says if Reed wants respect, he can earn it in the gym. A second message came right after. His words, no ghosts, no tricks, no girls, no rich family shelter. Bianca read the screen over my shoulder before I could tilt it away. Her face changed. Not fear this time. Calculation. Do not answer like an idiot, Bianca said. He asked for respect. He asked for a fight. Same thing, different marketing. Nolan, Bianca. She looked at the transfer confirmation still open on my phone, then at Brody's message. You really do turn every disaster into an invoice, she said. Only when the customer insists. Mila had chosen war. Bianca had bought in. Tristan had screamed, and Knox Weller had just made the mistake every proud fighter makes sooner or later. He thought respect was something he could force me to earn with his rules. I looked out over Harbor City from the Beacon suite and smiled. Tell him, I said to Brody's message, I charge admission. Brody Kane's message arrived while Bianca Ellery was still staring at the $2 million she had just transferred into my future. Knox Weller says if Reed wants respect, he can earn it in the gym. A second line followed. No ghosts, no tricks, no girls, no rich family shelter. Bianca read over my shoulder and made the kind of face rich girls make when they discover violence has terrible branding. Do not answer like an idiot, she said. I typed back to Brody anyway. Tell him I charge admission. Bianca grabbed my wrist before I could send more. Nolan. I looked at her hand on me, then at her face. Is this concern or investor oversight? It can be both. That is almost romantic. That is almost why people try to hit you. She was not wrong. Annoying women rarely are when the subject is other men's pride. Knox wanted me to meet him where fists were the only language. I did not give men like Knox the first venue they requested. That was how idiots walk into cages and call it courage. I needed to answer the challenge without paying it early, so I used the Beacon suite. By noon, Brody brought 3 upperclassmen to the Marwood Grand Hotel. 2 had been connected to Tristan Clay's midnight stupidity. The third came only because the story had gotten too expensive to ignore. They entered the suite expecting a rich poser hiding above campus. They found catered food, heavy glassware, a skyline view, and me sitting at the head of the table with the black key card beside my plate like a little black insult. The first upperclassman stopped at the door. This is really yours? For tonight, I said. Respect the rental period. The second upperclassman tried to laugh. So what is this, a victory party? No, I said. A correction. Victory parties are for people who survived a fight. You people survived a rumor and came here to see if the rumor had furniture. Brody looked at the food, then at the men behind him. He is not wrong, I pointed to the table. Eat if you want, but first, one rule. Nobody in my room gets to pretend last night was mutual combat. Tristan came with a bat. His friends screamed. The floor got cleaned. Say the clean version or go hungry. The first upperclassman looked at Brody. Brody did not save him. That was the small test I needed. If Brody corrected me, the room stayed his. If Brody let them answer, the suite became mine. The upperclassman swallowed. Tristan came with a bat. He screamed. They cleaned. Good, I said. The pasta is less embarrassing. The second one muttered, he is going to kill us if he hears we said that. Sella North answered from the doorway before Brody introduced her. He already heard worse. He is mostly mad because the photos were ugly. Sella entered like that, not scared, not warm, and absolutely aware of which men depended on better lighting than they deserved. Brody laughed and walked in first. That mattered. Men who had watched Tristan scream were now watching Brody relax under my roof. Status is contagious when the right person stops flinching. Bianca stood near the window with her arms crossed. She had insisted this was a terrible idea, then spent 10 minutes adjusting the fruit tray because apparently terrible ideas still needed presentation. Sella North came in behind Brody. Brody introduced her with one sentence. Sella knows the senior crowd, and she actually tells the truth when it costs her. Sella looked me over. She did not do the Talia Burke price scan. She measured exits, witnesses, and Bianca's posture near the glass. So you are the campus shark, Sella said. Depends who is swimming. Her mouth curved. And the suite? Territory, I said. People behave differently when the carpet costs more than their excuses. Sella walked to the table but did not sit. Territory usually has taxes. What do you collect? Clean stories, useful warnings, and people who know when not to touch what is not theirs. Her gaze moved to Bianca. That why she is here? Bianca said. I funded the room. I do not belong to the room. Nobody said belong, Sela said. The table went quiet because Sela had touched the live wire without smiling. I set my cup down. Bianca bought in because she is less boring than her family hoped. Brody came because he likes having a story worth carrying. You came because you wanted to know whether I protect access or just sell it. Sela's expression changed. And? Access is expensive. Safety is not negotiable. Not noble. Noble would have been free and stupid. Practical mattered more. A room that could not keep one woman from being cornered would never become a territory. It would become a prettier dorm. One of the upperclassmen muttered, Tristan is saying you set him up. I lifted my coffee. He came to my room after midnight with a bat. If he wants sympathy, he should start by explaining the bat's emotional needs. Brody laughed first. The others followed because laughing with Brody was safer than defending Tristan. First shift of the afternoon, not friendship, not loyalty, something more useful at that stage. Permission. They had permission to stop treating Tristan like the default senior threat. I let them eat before I asked questions. Food makes weak men honest and ambitious, men careless. The black key made the hotel staff appear before anyone had to look for help, and every time a server called me Mr. Reed, an upperclassman at the table sat a little straighter. Bianca noticed too. She leaned close while the others argued over who had spread the hallway photo. You are enjoying this too much. I am feeding people who came to see if I was hiding, I said. This is community service. You are building a court. Courts have judges. I prefer customers. She looked at the table, then at Brody, then at Sela. And Knox? Knox wanted no girls and no rich family shelter, I said. So I invited girls and used rich family money to order dessert. Bianca tried not to smile. Failed. Sela saw it. That reaction mattered too. Sela had entered as Brody's test. She watched Bianca Ellery, the girl senior men orbited like unpaid satellites, fail to stay cold around me. That told Sela the rumor was not empty. It told the room I was not just borrowing an heiress. I was making the heiress react. After lunch, Sela stepped out toward the service hall to take a call. I saw Tristan Clay move before anyone else did. He had not been invited, but cowards love hallways. They give a man just enough privacy to pretend he is brave. Tristan came from the elevator side with his jaw tight and a bruise on his pride no mirror could show. He waited until Sela was near the service door, then blocked her path with one hand on the wall. I could not hear the first line. I did not need to. Sela's shoulders changed. She tried to step around him. He shifted with her. That was enough. I set my cup down. Bianca followed my eyes. Nolan, investor oversight? I asked. Do not make a murder joke. Fine, a rescue joke. I walked out before the table could turn into a committee. Tristan saw me and smiled like a man trying to remember how he used to scare people. Private conversation, he said. Sela said, it was not a conversation. Good. Clear witness, clear refusal, no guessing required. I looked at Tristan's hand still braced against the wall. Move it, he laughed once. Or what, you hang another sheet? No, I said. This carpet is nicer, blood would be rude. Sela's mouth twitched despite herself. Tristan saw that and lost another inch of control. You think the hotel makes you untouchable? No. I think touching women in service halls makes you predictable. The suite door opened behind me. Brody came out first, then the upperclassmen, then Bianca, slow and furious because she understood exactly how this hallway would look if it spread. Tristan's hand dropped. That was the second shift. He did not move because I had threatened him. He moved because the witnesses changed the price. Sela stepped away from him and stood beside me. Not behind me. Beside me. Tristan saw the placement and hated it. She lifted her phone where he could see the screen. The senior group is asking why I left the suite. Do you want me to type the version where you blocked the hall, or the version where Nolan walked out before you could touch my wrist? Tristan's face tightened. That was the third shift. The rumor did not need me anymore. Sela could carry it herself, and because she was the person he had cornered, every sentence from her cost him more than a threat from me. You are collecting strays now? He asked. Sela answered before I did. Better than being cornered by one. The upperclassman laughed. Tristan's face went red. Bianca said his name once. Tristan. That one word carried the Ellery weight he had been pretending to own. It also made the hallway pick a side. Tristan looked at Bianca. You keep letting him use you. I said, careful. She charges for insults now. Bianca's eyes flashed at me, but she did not correct me. Sela looked between us and understood the most useful version. Whatever Bianca and I were, Tristan was outside it. Tristan backed toward the elevator with a smile that looked stapled on. Knox is going to enjoy you. Tell him the admission price went up, I said. The elevator doors closed on Tristan's face. Sela let out a breath she had been holding. Brody asked her, You good? She nodded, then looked at me. You did not make a speech. Speeches give men time to lie. Sela smiled. Then I owe you a short thank you. Accepted. Keep it useful. That made Brody laugh again. It made Sella stay. By the time everyone returned to the suite, the room had changed. Sella was no longer a visitor. She was proof that my territory could protect more than my ego. Brody's upperclassmen stopped treating the food like bait and started eating like they wanted to be included in the next invitation. Alliance. Not the soft kind, the campus kind. People saw a room. They saw a rule. They saw someone cross the rule and lose face. Then they wanted access. The cashback system pulsed while I signed the suite bill. Territory influence recorded. Alliance chain expanded. Minor points credited. I liked that the system called it minor. The room did not feel minor to Tristan. That evening, Bianca came back with a garment bag and a threat. "You are changing," she said. I was sitting at the table answering Brody's update about Knox without promising a fight date. "Into what?" "Something my father can bring to Arthur's private club without looking like he found you under a vending machine." "I was found on a train. Respect the origin story." She hung the garment bag on the bedroom door and unzipped it. Inside was a dark suit, a white shirt, polished shoes, and a small blue lapel pin that caught the light like it knew it was overpriced. I looked at the suit. "This boyfriend package keeps adding services." "This is not boyfriend service." "Investor styling? Damage control. For me or your father." Bianca stepped close and held the jacket against my shoulders. Her eyes moved over me with the same sharpness she used on accounts, rumors, and enemies. "For the room," she said. "Old men decide whether they like you before you finish your first sentence. Then I should not waste the first sentence." "Exactly." Her hands adjusted the collar. For a second, neither of us joked. "Dangerous, so I fixed it. If you keep dressing me, people will think you care." Bianca fastened the lapel pin harder than necessary. "If you keep talking, I will put it through skin." "Romantic. Medical." She stepped back. The mirror showed a different kind of upgrade from the hospital one. The cashback system had fixed the body Blaine paid to damage. Bianca's suit fixed the room before I entered it. A poor man in a suit is still poor if he wears it like a costume. I wore it like a receipt. Arthur Ellery's private club did not have a sign that needed proving. The front door was quiet. The staff used names softly. Men inside wore watches that looked casual until you understood the price of casual. Arthur waited near a table with Elliot Stroud. Elliot did not stand when I approached. His first test. He looked at the blue lapel pin, then at my face. "So this is the student who made my old friend talk about mock portfolios at breakfast." Arthur smiled. "Nolan Reed." I shook Elliot's hand. He had the grip of a man who had won enough rooms to stop crushing fingers for sport. Elliot said, "Bianca dressed you." "She threatened me into compliance," I said. Bianca, standing beside me, said, "He required supervision." Elliot's eyes moved between us. "Good. Supervision is underrated when money is young." "Money is never young," I said. "Only the idiot holding it." Arthur laughed. Elliot did not. Then he did, once, under his breath. The first glass arrived. Rare wine, old bottle, quiet presentation, the kind of drink people use to watch whether you become grateful or greedy. I took it, smelled it, and did not pretend to know the year. Elliot noticed. "No performance?" "I perform where I can win," I said. "Here, I drink what you poured and remember who paid for the bottle." Arthur leaned back, pleased. Bianca looked at me like she hated that the line worked. The old men tested me with small questions first, not technical enough to become a lecture. Just traps wearing manners. Would I chase the hottest stock on the board? No. Crowds make bad exits. Would I protect Bianca's pride over Arthur's capital? No. Pride should pay its own rent. Would I take a small account seriously? Only if the owner wanted large results later. Elliot watched me over the rim of his glass. "Arthur says you think good investors charge stories rent," he said. "I said bad investors fall in love with stories," I answered. "Good investors charge them rent. And if I gave you $10 million? Bianca's hand tightened on her glass. Arthur went quiet. The table around us kept talking, but our corner had narrowed to one question. I did not grin. Greed is fun. Showing all of it at once is cheap. "Then I would ask what you want the money to buy," I said. Elliot's eyebrow lifted. "Return. That is what money says when it has no imagination. Do you want return, access, proof?" Arthur was right. Proof Bianca was not foolish to bring me near your circle, or the pleasure of watching a young shark bite people your age politely. Bianca whispered, "Nolan." I kept looking at Elliot. Elliot set his glass down. For 3 seconds, I thought I had pushed too hard. Then he smiled. "Not warm. Interested." 10 million, Elliot said. 30 days. Same as Arthur's first test, but I dislike boredom even more than he does. Arthur laughed outright. Bianca stared at Elliot like he had just handed me a lit match near her curtains. I lifted my glass. "I charge extra for not boring rich men." "Earn it," Elliot said. The cashback system flashed so brightly, I almost missed the server refill my glass. External capital access expanded. Elite account chain unlocked. The words felt heavier than the wine. Blaine had paid for my body. Arthur had paid for my credibility. Bianca had paid for my territory. Elliot Stroud had just paid for the next tier of enemies. Arthur reached across the table and tapped the back of my chair once. Not affection, approval. In rooms like that, the difference did not matter until inheritance got involved. Bianca saw the tap, so did Elliot. So did two older men at the next table who had ignored me when I walked in, and now looked at the blue pin on my lapel as if it had started belonging there. The hidden payoff of the club was access. 10 million sounded louder, but the real upgrade was entry. Arthur's circle had stopped asking why a student was in the room and started wondering whether they were late to the table. Bianca leaned close and whispered, "Do not let this make you unbearable." "Too late," I whispered back. "It came with the suit. The moment should have ended in triumph. It did not. Payoffs have consequences when they are worth anything." Bianca's phone buzzed first, then mine. Brody's text sat on the screen. Knox accepted the gym match. A second message followed before I could answer. Saw him buying a utility knife. Bianca read my face before she read the words. "What?" she asked. I showed her the screen. The blue lapel pin on my suit caught the club light while the warning sat in my palm. Elliot Stroud had just opened a $10 million door. Knox Weller had just chosen a cheaper one with a blade inside. Brody Kane's warning about the utility knife did not make Knox Weller look smarter. It made him look cheaper. A real fighter can lose. A proud idiot needs an excuse in his pocket. Bianca Ellery read the message twice inside Arthur's private club, then looked at me like she wanted to drag me out by the lapel pin she had just fastened onto my suit. "You are not meeting him alone," Bianca said. Arthur Ellery heard enough to turn from Elliot Stroud. "Meeting who?" "Knox," Bianca said before I could make it prettier. "He challenged Nolan at the gym." "Brody says he bought a utility knife." Arthur's face went still. Elliot set down his glass. "That is not a fight. That is a liability looking for a hallway." "Finally," I said. "A rich man who speaks my dialect." Bianca snapped. "Do not joke." I looked at Arthur. "I am not reporting him before he does anything." Arthur's eyes narrowed. "That is foolish." "No," I said. "It is expensive. If Knox backs down, I get a rumor. If he steps onto the mat, I get an audience. If he pulls the knife, he gives every parent in your circle a reason to pretend they always disliked him." Elliot studied me. "You intend to let him choose the worst door. I intend to make sure it is open when he reaches for it." Bianca's voice dropped. "You intend to bleed for a better story." I looked at her, and for once, I did not make the first answer ugly. "I intend to make his story stop before mine does." That did not calm her. It did make Arthur stop arguing. The next morning, I answered Knox in the only language he respected and the only language I enjoyed more, price. Brody spread the message through the senior circles. The gym match would happen that evening. No random pile-on, no hallway jump, no whispered dorm key. Knox, Tristan Clay, and Trevor Baines wanted respect? Fine, they could sign for it. One page sat on the gym counter by 5 o'clock. Not a legal saga. Not a hearing. Not a campus process. One page. If they stepped onto the mat and lost, they owed $50,000 each to the private campus hub for safety, repairs, and my personal amusement. If I lost, I would apologize publicly and shut down the suite events for the month. If anyone brought a weapon, the match ended. The video went to the people whose money Knox still wanted near him, and the penalty doubled. Greedy? Absolutely. But pride is easier to control when it has a bill attached. The gym was already crowded before I arrived. Students lined the wall. Some came for Knox. Some came for Bianca's reaction. Some came because the hallway had promised that the campus shark finally had to fight without a sheet, a suite, or a rich girl's coffee cup. Bianca stood near the sideline with her phone in hand. She did not hide that she was recording. That mattered. The video would not create the truth. The truth was about to happen in front of everyone. The video would only stop rich people from repainting it afterward. Brody waited near the door. Sella North stood beside him with her arms crossed, watching Tristan like she hoped he tried something and dreaded it at the same time. Talia Burke arrived with Sasha Wynn and whispered loudly, "I brought snacks because anxiety needs structure." Sasha whispered back, "This is not a movie. Then why is everybody acting poor with common sense?" Mila Vance did not come in with them. She entered alone, binder in one hand like the gym might try to submit a late assignment. She saw Bianca recording, saw the contract page, saw my bandaged-over old bruise almost gone and looked at me. "You are stupid," Mila said. "Good evening to you two. If you get hurt, I am not visiting." Noted. "I mean it. You used punctuation. I believe you." She looked furious enough to stay. Useful. Iris Calloway came last. Macy Kepler was not with her. Iris did not push toward the mat. She stood beside Sasha, calm but pale, and held my eyes for 1 second. "Do not make me watch another train," Iris said. That line landed harder than Bianca's anger or Mila's threats. I gave her a small nod. "This one has better exits." Knox Weller arrived with Tristan and Trevor. Knox wore a dark training shirt, and the expression of a man who had convinced himself silence was character. He had wrapped his hands. He had left his jacket with Tristan. I noticed the jacket because the pocket hung a little heavy. The utility knife had either moved or had never left his reach. I did not mention it. Mentioning a trap too early is just giving the rat a map. Knox stopped 3 feet from me and looked at the crowd. You brought all this for protection? No, I said, for witnesses. Protection is what guilty men call an audience. His eyes moved to Bianca's phone. Tell your fake girlfriend to put that down. Bianca's smile turned sharp. Ask me yourself. Knox looked at her for half a second, and that half second told the gym what he really wanted. He was not fighting because I had insulted him. He was fighting because Bianca's attention had moved where he could not control it. Fine, Knox said. Record. I want everyone to see him hit the floor without hotel staff catching him. Generous, I said. You just donated your loss in high definition. Tristan barked a laugh, then stopped when Knox did not join him. Trevor looked from Bianca's phone to the signed page and started understanding that the room was no longer built around his commentary. Knox pointed at the suit jacket I had worn in. Take off the rich boy costume. I removed the jacket and handed it to Brody. The blue lapel pin flashed under the lights before Brody folded it over his arm. Careful with that, I told him. Bianca stabbed me with it emotionally. Bianca said, I can make it physical. The gym laughed. Knox did not. Good. Humor makes men like him feel excluded, and excluded pride takes worse risks. Trevor reached the counter first and stared at the page. 50,000? You think this is a pay-per-view? No, I said. Pay-per-view has better announcers. The crowd laughed. Trevor hated that my jokes kept making him smaller in rooms where he arrived to look tall. Tristan picked up the page. You are hiding behind a contract now? You hid behind a bat and screamed at laundry, I said. We all evolve. Sella laughed once. Tristan's face tightened. Knox took the page from him and signed first. Public mistake. He wanted the room to see he was not afraid of money, rules, or me. Tristan signed second because backing out after Knox would have made the service hall rumor permanent. Trevor signed last with the face of a man watching 8 apartments turn into recurring humiliation. Bianca took a clear video of each signature. I signed after them. The cashback system did not flash for the signature. Good. The paper was not power by itself. It was bait with a dollar amount. The reward would come only when a proud man decided the bait was beneath him and swallowed it anyway. Bianca shifted closer to the sideline, phone steady. Mila noticed the angle and said nothing. That silence was its own approval, and Bianca hated needing it. Then I handed the pen to Brody. Witness? I asked. Brody looked at the page and smiled. I do love stupid rich history. He signed as witness. That was all the paperwork the scene deserved. The gym attendant looked like he wanted to leave his own job. He pointed at the mat and said, No weapons, stop when someone taps or when I say stop. Knox smiled for the first time. He will not need to tap, Knox said. I stepped onto the mat. That sentence cost you 50,000 to say. Knox rolled his neck. You think money makes you clever? No. Money makes clever visible. Poverty hides it under late fees. That line did not mean anything to Knox. It meant something to Iris. I saw it in her face near the wall. She remembered the hospital room, the settlement wire, and the moment she understood I had let Blaine Carver pay for what he broke. Iris carried the difference between rumor and proof. Everyone else had heard rumors of my first invoice. Iris had watched the first bill come due. Knox looked at the crowd again. You love talking, and you love making women ask you to stop. Tonight we both grow. Sella's expression changed. Tristan heard the insult and looked at the floor. Knox's silence finally cracked. He came forward before the gym attendant finished raising his hand. The first exchange told me Knox was real, not a professional monster, not a street legend, but real enough that his fist moved without warning and his feet stayed honest under pressure. He hit my shoulder once before I settled. The crowd made a sound. Bianca's phone did not move. Mila's fingers tightened around her binder. Knox smiled again. No ghosts now. No, I said. Just invoices. He came harder. I gave ground on the first step because men like Knox trust forward motion more than thought. His right hand cut toward my ribs. I let it skim, caught his wrist, turned inside, and drove my shoulder under his center before his feet understood the floor had changed loyalties. He hit the mat on his back. Fast. Clean. The gym erupted. Knox rolled up angry, not hurt enough to stop. Good. A quick fall embarrasses a fighter. It does not break his pride. Pride has to keep paying until it bankrupts itself. He came in again, lower this time. Better. I slipped the first grab, let him catch cloth, then turned his own pull against his shoulder. His arm locked, his breath caught. I pushed another inch, not enough to cripple, enough to teach. His shoulders slicked with a sound the front row felt in their teeth. Knox dropped to one knee. The gym went silent. Then he hissed. The gym attendant moved in. Stop! I released immediately and stepped back with both hands visible. That mattered too. People forgive force faster when it stops exactly where it promised to stop. No extra shot. No stomp, no macho finishing line while he could claim I was cruel. Just a clean stop with the room watching him kneel. Trevor's mouth opened before his brain could save him. Lucky. I turned toward him. The crowd followed my eyes. Trevor, I said, the mat is open. He looked at Knox, still on one knee, then at the page he had signed. I did not sign to fight you. You signed to pay for respect. Are you buying it wholesale or just watching Knox shop? The crowd laughed. Trevor took one step back. Not much. Enough. $50,000 had become a background charge on his cowardice. Tristan did try. He had to. Sella was there. Brody was there. The service hall roomer was there. He stepped onto the edge of the mat and said, fine. He lasted 8 seconds. I did not need a dramatic move. Tristan was angry, embarrassed, and worried about how Sella was watching him. That made him reach too far. I hooked his ankle, turned his shoulder, and let him land flat enough that the mat slapped louder than his mouth ever had. Sella did not laugh. She looked relieved. That was better. Tristan rolled off the mat and did not get up. Now Knox had a choice. Lose clean or become exactly what Brody's warning had told me he might become. The gym attendant tried to end it. Match is done. Knox stood. One arm hanging wrong, eyes burning. No, Knox said. He tricks people. He does not beat them. Bianca said. Knox, stop. The way she said it changed the room. Not because she sounded afraid, because Knox heard Bianca caring whether I was safe. Bianca gave his pride the last push it needed. He lunged with his good arm. The movement looked sloppy enough to fool a careless man. His body angled toward me, but his hand went behind his waist. The utility knife flashed silver under the gym lights. Someone screamed my name. Bianca's phone stayed up. I turned late on purpose and early by survival. The blade came from behind, aimed low and ugly. I caught his wrist with my left hand and the blade with my right. Steel bit into my palm. Pain lit my arm white. Blood hit the mat. The room stopped being a campus fight. It became consequence. Knox's eyes widened. He had expected fear. Maybe a shout, maybe a cut he could call an accident in the mess. He did not expect me to hold the blade and smile with blood running between my fingers. That, I said, doubles the penalty. Then I twisted. The knife dropped. Brody kicked it away before anyone stupid could touch it. Bianca reached the mat before the gym attendant. Nolan, I kept my hand raised and my eyes on Knox. Record him, I said. Bianca's voice shook. I am recording. Good. Knox backed up. For the first time since I had seen him beside Tristan, his face looked young. Not innocent, just young enough to realize the world had rules his anger could not punch through. Arthur's name came out of Bianca's mouth like a threat. My father is seeing this. Knox looked at her. Then he understood the real loss. He had not just lost a fight, he had lost the rich circle that made his violence feel insulated. Brody stepped between Knox and the crowd. Nobody touches the knife, nobody edits the clip, everybody saw it. The gym answered in nods, whispers, and phones lowering because the expensive part had already been captured. Mila appeared at my side with a towel. I did not see her cross the mat. She pressed the towel to my palm and said, do not be stupid. I listened late. You always listen late. Her voice was angry. Her hand was careful. Iris stood just behind her, one hand over her mouth, eyes locked on the blood. Sasha had both hands around Talia's arm. Talia looked pale for once, her snacks forgotten on the bench. Bianca saw Mila holding the towel and did not like it. Then Bianca saw the blood soaking through and decided jealousy could wait 3 whole seconds. Progress. The trip to Mercy Harbor Medical Center was loud only because everyone wanted ownership of the fear. Bianca rode with me and called Arthur before the doors closed. Mila followed in another car without asking permission. Iris came because she had seen the first public injury and refused to be left with the rumor version. Sasha brought Talia because Talia said she was fine and then walked into a wall. At the hospital, a nurse tried to ask who was family. Bianca said, I am handling it. Mila said, you're not family. Bianca turned. Neither are you. Mila looked at my bandaged hand, then at Bianca. Then stop saying it with your shoes, Talia whispered to Sasha. I do not know what that means, but it was expensive. Sasha whispered, please sit down before you faint dramatically. Iris stepped between the argument and the nurse. He is Nolan Reed, Iris said calmly. He was injured in a gym match. His hand needs treatment, and everyone else can fight over oxygen after he is seen. The nurse liked Iris immediately. Most sane people did. I sat on the exam bed while the cut got cleaned and wrapped. I will keep the medical part short because pain is only interesting when it changes what people do. This pain changed the room. It gave Bianca permission to look scared in public. It gave Mila permission to break silence and touch me without making a joke first. It gave Iris the old train memory back with worse stakes. It gave Arthur Ellery a reason to walk into Mercy Harbor Medical Center like the hallway had insulted his family. Arthur arrived with Helena Ellery behind him. Elliot Stroud did not come in person, but his message hit Arthur's phone while Arthur crossed the waiting room. Arthur read it, glanced at me, and slid the screen into his pocket without comment. Later, he told me Elliot's only question had been whether the hand would affect the 30-day account. Arthur had answered, if it does, the boy will charge the injury rent. I liked Arthur more when he was practical and less when he sounded like me. No dramatic police speech, no lecture about procedure. Just Arthur looking at the bandage, then at Bianca's phone, then at me. "Show me," Arthur said. Bianca played the video once. Nobody spoke while Knox pulled the knife. Nobody needed to. When the video ended, Arthur's face was calm in the way storms look calm from far away. "Knox Weller is finished in any room I control," Arthur said. "The school can pretend to deliberate, my circle will not." Helena looked at my bandaged hand. "And you, Mr. Reed, will stop acting like blood is a business model." "It has cash flow," I said. Bianca snapped. "Nolan," Mila said, "do not defend him, he is terrible." Iris looked at Mila. "You are still holding the towel." Mila looked down. She was. The room went quiet for one dangerous second. Then Talia, still pale, said, "For the record, if anyone asks, I was brave in the waiting room." Sasha said, "You asked if vending machines had smelling salts." Bravely. The laugh that followed did not erase the fear. It made the room breathe again. Talia stayed useful because she could turn panic sideways before it became weakness. The doctor gave me restrictions. No heavy lifting with the hand, keep it clean, return if the bleeding worsened. Normal human advice, annoying timing. Because my phone buzzed before the bandage tape settled, the department had sent the public finalist list for the Bayside Finance Final. My name sat at the top. So did the sponsor list. Arthur Ellery was there. Elliot Stroud was there. Then I saw the name that made the hospital room narrow around me. Meridian Analytics. Sponsor representative, Mr. Sutter. The same boss who had fired me in the old life before my lunch bag warmed in the office fridge. Bianca read the screen over my shoulder. "Who is Sutter?" I closed my fingers around the phone and felt the bandage pull. "A door that thought it was a wall," I said. Mila heard the tone and stopped arguing. Arthur watched me more closely. The knife fight had ended. The final bill had just arrived wearing my old boss's name. Mr. Sutter's name sat on the finalist sponsor list like the old life had bought a ticket. Meridian Analytics. Sponsor representative, Mr. Sutter. In the old life, he had fired me before my lunch bag warmed in the office fridge. He had slid a packet across a glass conference table and called my ruined life a correction. Drew Haskell had already been wearing my headset. Caitlin Shaw had already traded patience for better energy. Now Sutter was coming to Bayside Metropolitan University to watch finalists compete for money, accounts, and access. He did not know what he had done to me. That made it cleaner. I did not need him to remember the knife. I needed him to see the scar tissue wearing a better suit. Bianca Ellery read the sponsor list over my shoulder in the hospital and asked, "Who is Sutter?" I told her, "Someone who once thought I belonged outside the door." Mila Vance looked at my bandaged hand. "Do you always answer trauma with riddles? Only when the trauma has a company logo." Iris Calloway did not ask anything. She had seen enough on the train to understand some wounds do not need the same witness twice. Arthur Ellery watched me from the end of the room. "Can you compete tomorrow?" The doctor had just told me not to use the hand more than necessary, so I flexed the fingers and felt pain crawl up my wrist. "Yes," I said. Bianca snapped. "That was not medical advice. It was a question about winning." Helena Ellery said, "Those are different questions for sane people. I am improving other categories first." Mila muttered. "He is impossible," Talia Burke, still pale from the gym, said from the waiting chair. "Impossible is currently ranked first, stabbed, and sponsored. I hate how marketable that is." Sasha Wynn put a bottle of water beside my good hand. "Drink before you make another terrible sentence." After Knox Weller's knife, the room looked like this. Not peaceful, never peaceful, but aligned in the one way that mattered. Everyone understood tomorrow was not a simple campus final anymore. Knox had made my hand the headline. Mr. Sutter had made the final personal. The next morning I did not hide the bandage. Bianca wanted the suit perfect. Mila wanted the bandage tight. Iris wanted me to eat. Talia wanted to know whether a wounded finalist got sympathy points. Sasha actually made sure I took the pain medicine. I let them all help in small ways because refusing every hand is just another kind of begging for control. But I chose the final look. Dark suit. Blue lapel pin. Bandaged right hand visible against the sleeve. Black keycard in the inside pocket. No cracked glasses. No cheap apology posture. When I looked in the Beacon Suite mirror, the old subway version of me was nowhere on the glass. Not gone. Priced differently. The finals were held in the big public hall at Bayside. No fancy name. No sacred ritual. Just a stage, a main screen, sponsor tables, finalist stations, and enough students to make every reaction spread before the next update. Knox was not there. That absence had a sound. The gym video had not needed a hearing to make its first payment. By morning, Knox had lost the match, the room, the rich parent protection, and the right to stand anywhere near the final without people seeing the blade before his face. The formal consequences could drag their feet. Public status had already sprinted ahead and locked him outside. Tristan came anyway, but only at the back wall, where men go when they want to witness power without admitting they are afraid of it. Sella saw him, lifted 2 fingers in a lazy little wave, and watched him look away first. Perfect! Private wins feel good. Public wins collect interest. Trevor Baines saw me first near the entrance. He stood with 2 classmates, pretending he had not signed a fight contract, and watched Knox destroy his own future. His eyes went to my bandage, then to the lapel pin, then to Bianca walking beside me. Trevor could not help himself. Going to type with one hand, Reed? The students near us turned. I smiled. If I need help, I will ask your family for 8 apartments and 2 mortgages. The laugh hit him from 3 directions. Trevor's face shut down. He had once tried to make family property a throne. By the final, it had become a punchline that followed him without me lifting a finger. Consequence. Finally. No office, no complaint form, no witness chain. The room simply repeated the smaller version of him until he had to live inside it. Not revenge by paperwork, revenge by habit. Brody Kane passed behind Trevor and said, "Careful, he charges for repeat jokes." Trevor moved away before the room made him pay again. Near the sponsor row, Arthur Ellery stood with Elliot Stroud. They spoke quietly with men and women who all looked like they had never waited for a bus unless the bus belonged to them. Arthur saw me and nodded once. Elliot lifted his coffee in salute. That was all. Good. Rich approval is strongest when it does not beg to be noticed. Then I saw Meridian Analytics. Mr. Sutter stood behind a sponsor table with his usual clean tie, his usual dead-eyed professional smile, and his usual talent for looking at people like they were still being sorted. Drew Haskell stood beside him. Caitlin Shaw stood near the table with a visitor badge on her jacket and a tablet tucked against her arm. There they were, the office wound in student stage lighting. In this timeline, they had not trapped me in the glass conference room yet. Drew had not taken my headset. Caitlin had not posted better energy beside him after my firing. Mr. Sutter had not slid the release packet across the table, but I remembered. Memory was not fair, neither were they. Sutter's eyes moved over the finalist list, then to my bandage, then to my face. He smiled with polite recruiter interest. Nolan Reed, impressive recovery story around campus. I stopped in front of him. Bianca slowed behind me. Mila stopped too. Iris stayed back with Sasha, but I felt her attention settle on the moment. Sutter held out a hand. My right hand was bandaged. I looked at his hand until the pause became visible. Then I offered my left. He took it, slightly wrong-footed. Good. Even tiny discomfort has flavor when served to the right person. Sutter said, Meridian Analytics likes resilient talent. I said, Meridian likes talent after someone else proves it. Drew's smile twitched. Caitlin looked up from her tablet. Sutter kept his recruiter face. Proof is the point of a final, Mr. Reed. No, I said. Proof is what people ask for when they miss the earlier invoices. Bianca's mouth curved behind me. Mila whispered, Unbelievable. Sutter did not understand the old blood under the line. Fine. The public part was enough. Drew stepped in with the light laugh men use when they want to cut without looking nervous. Big talk before results, Drew said. I looked at him. He was younger than the office version in my memory, but the posture was the same. Borrowed confidence, clean shoes, a smile polished on somebody else's work. Drew Haskell, I said. He blinked. We have met? Not properly. Caitlin's eyes moved between us. You know his name? I remember useful things, I said, and expensive mistakes. Sutter's smile thinned. Confidence is valuable when paired with performance. Good luck today. There it was again. The soft dismissal. The voice of a man already deciding whether I belonged in his spreadsheet. In the old life, I had spent years trying to make men like him call me valuable. This time, I walked past him before he could finish measuring me. The first round opened fast. No tutorial, no stock sermon, no charts worth boring anyone with. The screen showed market shifts, scenario changes, capital allocations, and a live leaderboard. Every finalist had the same starting balance. Every sponsor saw every move. Every student in the hall pretended to understand enough to judge the rest. I kept my bandaged hand still and used my left. Slow start, low flash, 3 precise moves. A finalist at the next station chased a loud spike and got applause from people who confused noise with strength. Another finalist copied the crowd 5 minutes too late. A third panicked when the scenario changed and started moving like a trapped bird. Mila watched from the side with her arms folded. Bianca stood near Arthur, trying not to look worried and failing only where I could enjoy it. Iris sat with Sasha and Talia. Iris's eyes stayed on my hand more than the screen. Sasha whispered something to her. Talia whispered something back, and Sasha elbowed her before it escaped. The first update posted. I was 4th. Trevor, from somewhere behind me, muttered, Looks like the shark is bleeding out. Talia turned around before I could. Trevor, you signed a contract to watch another man fight for you. Sit quietly. The crowd near him laughed. Talia looked surprised at herself. Then, pleased, Talia earned a little payoff. She had gone from opening Mila's package for attention to using attention against a weaker target. Not noble, still growth if you priced it correctly. The second update posted. I moved to second. The room changed, not a gasp, a lean. Sponsors leaned forward. Students stopped pretending the injured hand was the story. Sutter's table went quiet enough that I could feel it behind me. Drew said something under his breath. Caitlin did not answer. I did not look back. Looking back is for men who are unsure the knife landed. The final scenario hit with 10 minutes left. Most finalists lost the room there. The system shifted conditions. Safe positions became less safe. Flashy gains turned soft. Everyone wanted one last dramatic move because spectators love a hero sprint. I did not sprint. I sold one position everyone loved, held one position everyone called boring, and moved the rest where the crowd was too nervous to follow. The cashback system pulsed once in the corner of my vision. Pattern pressure detected. No miracle, no free money. Just the same hard rule the system had been teaching since the train. The crowd's mistake becomes fuel if you know when to charge them. The final board locked. Rank 1, Nolan Reed. For a moment, the room did not explode. It confirmed. People looked from the screen to my bandage, from my bandage to Arthur, from Arthur to Elliot, from Elliot to Sutter, from Sutter back to me. Then the sound hit. Talia screamed first, which annoyed Mila and made Sasha laugh. Iris stood with both hands over her mouth, but her eyes were smiling this time. Bianca closed her eyes for half a second like she was angry at relief itself. Arthur clapped once, slow and heavy. Elliot matched him. Mila did not clap. Mila walked straight to my station, looked at the screen, then at me. You won left-handed, she said. I wanted to make the handicap feel included. You are still stupid, rank 1 stupid. Her mouth almost moved. Almost. Then she said quietly, do not spend the forgiveness on this. That line mattered because it meant she was still saving the debt. Which meant she expected me to survive long enough to claim it. Arthur and Elliot reached the stage before Meridian did. Arthur spoke to the department head only long enough for the microphone to catch the useful part. Ellery Group is expanding Mr. Reed's managed account, Arthur said. Performance under pressure should be rewarded while the pressure is still visible. Elliot took the microphone next, smiled at the crowd, and said, my 10 million was a test. I dislike boring results. Mr. Reed has not bored me. We will continue. The hall heard 10 million. Then it heard continue. That combination did more than the trophy could. A trophy goes on a shelf. Capital follows you into the next room and makes everyone ask for a chair. Sutter approached after the announcement, which told me everything about him. He waited until other men made the value visible, then stepped forward as if he had discovered it with manners. Mr. Reed, Sutter said, Meridian Analytics would like to discuss opportunities. Your composure under pressure is exactly the kind of profile we cultivate. Caitlin stood behind him now. Drew beside her. Caitlin's eyes moved over. Bianca, Mila, Iris, Talia, Sasha, the bandage, the sponsors, the cameras, and the board with my name still at the top. She did not look disgusted. That would have been easier. She looked recalculated. I knew that look from the old life. It was the look she gave Drew when she decided he was moving forward. It was not love. It was a valuation update. This time, I was not for sale at her price. Sutter extended a card. I did not take it. Meridian Analytics had a door, I said. I outgrew the ceiling. Sutter's smile stiffened. That is a colorful way to reject a conversation. No, I said. This is the conversation. Drew laughed softly. You might want to be careful. Sponsors talk. I finally looked at him again. Then talk, I said. But use my current title when you do. Drew's eyes flicked to the board. Rank 1, to Arthur, to Elliot, to Bianca beside me like she wanted to correct my tie and stab the room at the same time. He found nothing useful and looked away. Drew's consequence was small and sweet. Not prison. Not ruin, smaller and sweeter. He had to stand beside a man he thought was beneath him and realize the room no longer agreed. Caitlin touched Sutter's arm lightly, probably to suggest retreat. I remembered her hand on Drew's arm in the photo from my old life. New start. Better energy. The memory did not hurt the same way anymore. Maybe because Bianca was arguing with Arthur over account language behind me. Maybe because Mila had already stolen my coffee from the station without asking. Maybe because Iris was looking at me like the boy from the train had finally stopped bleeding. Maybe because Talia had started explaining to Sasha that she had personally contributed to my public relations growth by being nosy, and Sasha was not letting her get away with it. Or maybe because the old life had wanted me outside the glass. This one had too many people fighting over who got through my door. By sunset, the trophy sat on the Beacon Suite table because I did not know where else to put a trophy, and Bianca refused to let me use it as a paperweight. The hotel staff installed the temporary office plaque near the suite's inner door. Reed Capital. 2 words. No explanation. The Beacon Suite had been Mila's battlefield, Bianca's investment pitch, Brody's alliance room, Sella's safety proof, and my answer to every dorm hallway that thought I was still reachable. Now it became an office, not a permanent empire. A door. Enough for the first year of revenge. Arthur stood by the window, speaking with Elliot about expanded terms. Bianca argued with both of them because she wanted her 2 million named correctly and her pride named nowhere. Mila sat at the desk like she was reviewing enemy territory and finding spelling errors. Iris placed the trophy where the sunset hit it and said nothing when I noticed. Sasha handed me black coffee, no sugar. Talia asked whether Reed Capital needed a social director and pretended to be joking only after everyone looked at her. My phone buzzed. The front desk said Mr. Sutter was downstairs and requested a private conversation. I looked around the room. At the accounts. At the women who were not a neat ending and never would be. At the bandage Knox had paid for with his future. At the sweet key, the black key, and the plaque with my name on it. Then I told the front desk, Mr. Sutter can wait in the lobby. Bianca smiled first. Mila tried not to. Iris looked out over Harbor City, and for a second I saw the train window in the skyline glass. Thin boy, bad glasses, cheap backpack, apology already forming before anyone swung. That boy was not dead. Dead things do not collect interest, he was paid back. Blaine Carver's settlement had bought the body. Trevor's mouth had bought the first public face. Slap. Talia's sabotage had dragged Bianca's world into mine. Mila's secret had become a war instead of a weakness. Bianca's fear had become capital. Tristan's ambush had become hallway comedy. Knox's knife had become a bandage, a video, and his own locked door. Mr. Sutter had come to offer access after I no longer needed his building. Caitlin and Drew had seen enough. No one from the old humiliation ladder was left above me. That did not mean the story became clean. Mila still owed me one forgiveness. Bianca still called the 2 million accomplice money, not boyfriend money. Iris still looked at me like she remembered the train before all the noise. Talia still wanted a profitable seat too badly. Sasha still noticed when everyone else forgot I had only one good hand. The chaos did not end. It upgraded. I picked up the black key and unlocked the suite door from the inside. Outside, Harbor City kept shining like every window had a price. Inside, Reed Capital had one table, one plaque, one bandaged hand, and enough enemies turned into invoices to make the room feel crowded even before the next rich man knocked. They had fired a man with no door,